Naruto was walking down the streets of Konoha still saddened by the fact he failed his graduation exam for the second time. Naruto, you failed. Naruto thought this and chuckled at the thought. What else is new? Naruto didn't pay much attention where he was going or to the villagers who looked at him with hate in their eyes. Suddenly Naruto found himself in front of a story he never saw before. He decided to enter the story and found two men auguring over a tag. Look, I don't think that is a storage seal, the brown-headed man said. It looks more like a chakra seal. And I'm telling you it is a storage seal, the bulky deep-voiced man said. You know what, how about we just activate it and find out what it is? The other one nodded his head in agreement as they started to lay the tag down. Naruto caught a glimpse of the seal and felt an odd tug deep within himself, almost like the seal was calling out to him. Stop! Naruto yelled out. The two men stopped and looked at Naruto with surprise in their eyes. It's an explosive tag. The man looked at one another and chuckled. Look, kid, we don't need a tiny little kid try and tell us what a dashed up. The man stopped as he looked at the seal again. He's right. His friend looked at him, then back at the tag. Whoa, how did we miss that? He said this as he gently picked the tag up. Well, it is an old version of an explosive seal. He said this with a thoughtful expression. I haven't seen a tag like this used in a long time, so us mistaking it for something, especially considering we were arguing, it is pretty easy to make a mistake like that. Yeah, but still we nearly blew us and our shop up, his friend said as he looked at Naruto. That would be one statement to make. We just move here and we go ahead and blow ourselves up. Forgive us, we need to introduce ourselves. My name is Ishiki, Awareness. And this is my brother Denpa, Electromagnetic Wave. Naruto Uzumaki is my name, Naruto said to the two brothers. I got a question for you, Naruto, Denpa said with a raised eyebrow. How did you know that it was an explosive tag? Naruto just smiled and placed his hands behind his head. I don't know, it's just that the seal looked like it spelled explosive, Naruto said, but the brothers didn't quiet by that. Okay, tell me, do you know what this are? Ishiki said this as he held out 3 different tags with different seals on them. Naruto looked at them and about a few seconds after looking at them he began to speak. This one is a sealing tag, Naruto said, pointing to the tag. This is a chakra sealing tag and this is another explosive tag, but the ones we use nowadays. The brothers were amazed at Naruto. Kid, you just got them all right, Denpa said with a smile of amusement. Listen, do you know what fuinjutsu, sealing techniques, are? Naruto closed his eyes in concentration. Sorry, I think I fell asleep during that part of Irika's lecture. Naruto said this and the brothers once again were amazed. This kid has no idea what fuinjutsu is and still managed to get everything right, Ishiki thought and looked at his brother who nodded his head. Denpa went into the back and came back carrying a dusty book. Here, we want you to have this, Ishiki said. It is a book over fuinjutsu. Naruto looked at the book and opened it up only to close it back and try to give it back to the owner. Looks boring, Naruto said, much to shock of the story owners. Boring? I'll have you know that fuinjutsu is possible one of the hardest things to ever master, Denpa said. Hell, there is not a lot of people who can be considered seal masters. The reason why is because people don't recognize the importance of fuinjutsu. If someone was to master fuinjutsu completely, devote most of their lives to learning the art, then there is no telling what they could do. After explaining all of this, Ishiki and Denpa noticed a strange look in Naruto's eyes. You mean fuinjutsu could be stronger than ninjutsu? Naruto said, amazed. Yes, Denpa said, only for his brother to cut in. But it all depends on what type of seal you are using, Ishiki said. If someone used the correct seal and placed it on their body, then the answer would be yes, but the problem once again is that hardly anyone wants to learn that forgotten art. I'll master it, Naruto yelled out. I don't know, you look like a weakling to me, Denpa said. I don't think you can handle it. I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I never go back on my word. If I say I'm going to master this, then I am. Naruto said this, and before anyone could stop him, Naruto ran out the door. Denpa and Ishiki looked at each other and smiled. Finally, we found that runt, Denpa said as he popped his neck. I thought we would never find him. Okay, fine, so it took longer than planned, but at least we found him, Ishiki said. They thought keeping his name Uzumaki was going to keep him safe. How sad. If anything, they probably made him an even bigger target. At least we are giving the Uzumaki clan a chance to come back. Denpa nodded his head. Now how about we get out of here? Denpa said as he began to pack away some of the merchandise. Sure, Ishiki said. Stay safe, young Uzumaki, for the world outside these walls will be quiet, unforgivable. But that was when he saw his brother putting a batch of seals away. What are you doing, you fool? Ishiki screamed out as he grabbed a metal bowl and started smacking Denpa over his head with it. Those are explosive tags that aren't supposed to near fire embers. Grabbing the bowl away from his brother, Denpa proceeded to beat Ishiki over the head with it. You didn't have to hit me, Denpa shouted out until his brother grabbed him by the throat. Denpa did the same thing and the two began to strangle each other as a customer entered, looked at the scene around him, and slowly walked out. Naruto made it to his apartment and sat down on his bed with the book in his lap. Techniques stronger than ninjutsu. Naruto shook at the thought. He opened the book and found a message written on the inside. Naruto, we gave you this book for one reason and one reason only, to help your clan to come back. You see, Naruto, you are most likely the last Uzumaki left, a powerful clan that made villages shook in fear and could possibly rival even that of the Senju, 1,000 skills or 1,000 hands, and Uchiha clans, but that time has long since passed. By the time you read this, we will be gone. But rest easy, for we will meet again along your life. Until then, train yourself to master fuinjutsu like your ancestors before you. Naruto, you will have a long and difficult life ahead. Please use what you learn to help protect yourself, your friends, and allies. Denpa and Ishiki. Naruto reread what the message said and still couldn't believe what he was reading. I was part of a clan, Naruto said, still in shock from what the message said. I need to see about this. Naruto said this as he left and ran towards the Hokage's tower. But when he got there, he found that Sarutobi was in a meeting and was not allowed to disturb it. So Naruto went to the next best thing, the library. When Naruto entered, he snuck past the librarian and headed to the back of the library where they kept books over different clans from or united with Konoha. Naruto looked through the books and found one over the Senju clan. He pulled it out and kept looking for Uzumaki, but when he got to the U's, he found that a book was missing. Damn it, Naruto thought as he cursed himself for not finding the book. He looked at the Senju clan book and began to look through it. The Senju clan was masters of all skill, from ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. Naruto whispered to himself. This earned them the name San no Teo Matsu Ikazoku, the clan with 1,000 skills. The only other clan that could rival them as the Uchiha and the Dash. Naruto once again cursed when he found that the other name was torn off. He skipped a page and found himself staying at a section that described Hashirama Senju and all he did for Konoha. Naruto's grip on the book tightened as he felt some tears trying to force themselves up. I was so close to finding more about my family, Naruto thought as he laid the book down and snuck out the library once more. Why would someone go through the trouble of trying to get rid of the information of the Uzumaki clan? Naruto entered his apartment and looked at the book once again. He picked it up and began to read the book, intently studying every inch of the book, every corner, and every word like it was gold. He got so immersed into the book he didn't notice that night had fallen. But still Naruto pressed on reading upon the subject of fuinjutsu until finally Naruto collapsed upon exhausting. Naruto slept where he fell, but he still kept a grip on that book as if it would suddenly float away and he would die. Irika was walking down the streets of Konoha. 2 more weeks and then the next academy students come in. Irika though, until he ran into someone he knew by just seeing the tips of his hair. Naruto, what are you up to now? Irika asked, but saw sight that he couldn't believe Naruto was carrying a book that had a marker in the middle of it. Naruto was also carrying a rectangular box. Naruto, where did you get the book? Oh, this some people gave it to me, so I've been reading it, Naruto said, but became confused when he saw Irika's shocked face. Naruto reading. Has the world come to an end? Irika thought as he looked down at Naruto. At any rate, I should be going. I have a lot more reading to do. Naruto said this as he began to walk down the streets once again with his book firmly clasped in his hands. Is that really Naruto? Irika asked himself as he looked at his most hyperactive student. 2 weeks later. Irika looked at his new class and sighed. I have most of the clan heirs here, not to mention the last Uchiha. Iruka just hung his head, but then snapped it up when he noticed that someone wasn't here. Wait a minute, where is Naruto? Iruka was about to go and search for the little prankster when suddenly the door was thrown open. Iruka turned to see who it was and saw Naruto, but wearing something completely different from his regular clothes. Instead of wearing his regular orange jumpsuit, Naruto was wearing an orange and red shirt that went all the way down to his wrists and hung freely, but right where his hands were they were wrapped in bandages, and right where the collar met Naruto's neck it was opened. Naruto's pants didn't change, except now he wore complete black. On the back of Naruto's shirt was a giant swirl like you would find on any Jonin or Chunin vest, but instead of being small it was as big as Naruto's back, making it look like a maelstrom. Naruto's hair looked like he just got out of bed. I'm sorry, Iruka-sensei, I overslept, Naruto said with a smile. Naruto just looked around at all the stunned faces and just gave a fox-like smile. What, I thought I'd try something new this year. Iruka just shook his head and told Naruto to take his seat. Alright, now that everyone is here, why don't we get started by asking a few questions? Iruka said as he looked around and saw Naruto smiling at him. Okay Naruto, let's see what you want to say. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I want to become Hokage one day, Naruto said, and Iruka just smiled, knowing Naruto's speech by heart by now. But before he could ask someone else, Naruto spoke up once again. But I also want to find out as much as I can on a certain clan. That brought confused looks around. I wonder what clan he could be talking about, Iruka thought to himself. Alright, how about you, Nara? Iruka said, pointing to the boy who was trying to sleep. Troublesome, Shikamaru grumbled out. My name is Shikamaru Nara, and anything else would be too troublesome to talk about. With that, Shikamaru fell right back to sleep. Okay, that was insightful, Iruka thought as he looked around the room and found that everyone else was either not paying attention or was looking at Sasuke, except for one Hyuga girl who was stealing glances at Naruto. Okay, forget the introductions for now, how about we go to jutsu? Iruka said and smiled, seeing everyone look up excited. First, does anyone know any jutsu? Iruka saw 4 hands pop up, but the one that caught his attention was Naruto. I wonder what the little trickster has planned, Iruka thought with an inward smile. Alright, knowing the Uchihas, we should most likely take this outside. The classroom got up and began to move outside. Everyone began to line up and form almost a semicircle around the 4. Alright, who wants to go first? Iruka said as he looked around and saw Shikamaru walk forward. It would be too troublesome to watch the others perform, so I'll go first, then go to sleep, Shikamaru said as he put his hands together into the tiger seal. Cage main, shadow imitation, Shikamaru stated lazily. Shikamaru's shadow stretched forward and connected with Iruka's. Shikamaru began to do a dance that made him look like a monkey dancing, but Iruka was forced to do the same thing. Alright, I get the point, Iruka shouted out. Shikamaru smiled as his shadow retracted back to him. Okay, next. Iruka watched as Choji walked forward eating a bag of chips. Baika no jutsu, multi-size technique, Choji said with his mouth full of chips. Suddenly Choji expanded like a balloon and began to roll around the area like a boulder. Choji stopped and shrunk back down to his normal size. Sasuke walked up, and almost immediately his little fan club began to cheer for their darling Sasuke. Sasuke sailed through a series of hand signs until he stopped on the tiger seal. Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. Sasuke announced this as he blew out a fireball. Everyone was impressed that Sasuke did a very powerful jutsu and wasn't even a ninja yet. Naruto then walked forward and everything got real quiet, almost deathly quiet. I can't mess this up, Naruto thought. Iruka, I'm going to need you to show this off. Iruka was a little hesitant to let Naruto use a jutsu on him, but he had no other choice. Naruto began to shake his legs with his eyes closed and breathed very deeply. His eyes snapped open and Naruto vanished. Iruka looked all around, but the only thing he could feel was a sudden rush of wind pass by him. He turned around and saw Naruto smile at him while he tapped him on the shoulder and disappear once more. Iruka felt the wind pass by him again, but this time the opposite way. Very good speed, Naruto, but that doesn't really classify as dashed up. Iruka stopped talking when his body froze up. Iruka couldn't talk and he could barely move. He looked back up at Naruto, who was holding a one-handed seal in tiger. What if he is using a one-handed seal? Then that means. Irika looked at his arm and sure enough he saw black symbols spread across his arm. I can't believe that worked, Naruto said with obvious excitement, but his excitement ended when Irika applied a bit more chakra into his arms and broke out of Naruto's seal. Oh! Come on Irika, why did you have to break out of it? Naruto said this with a pout as Irika walked over to him with shock in his eyes. Naruto, when did you learn how to do fuinjutsu? Irika asked still in shock. Oh, not long ago, Naruto said with a smile as he raised one of his legs into the air. I placed a seal on my leg to help me move faster with just a bit of chakra added to it instead of building chakra onto the bottom of my feet and wasting more chakra. The only problem with it through is that it forces me to go in a linear direction. So if someone knew that, then they could simply dodge. That seal I placed on you was meant to paralyze someone, but if they put enough chakra through their body they can shatter it. Naruto seemed ecstatic that he finally got to show off his new seals, but Irika on the other hand was stunned beyond belief. The worst kid in the entire class is able to grasp the most complex thing in the world like it was second nature. Irika thought as he watched Naruto smiling. If Naruto continues like this, then we might just have another seal master. Naruto, tell me, do you know how dangerous that is? Irika said with a stern voice. One thing is all that needs to go wrong, and then that is it for you. Naruto just looked at Irika and smiled. That's just it Irika, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Naruto said this as he turned around living behind a stunned Irika. Naruto was excited because for the first time thanks to his training in fuinjutsu Naruto was neck and neck Sasuke in jutsu skill. The only problem Naruto has discovered in his fuinjutsu training is that he still puts too much chakra into the seals. He got the concept down, in fact he developed a few new seals, it was just he always put too much chakra into them. They still work the way they're supposed to, but they consume a large amount of chakra that even drain Naruto's away rather quickly. The other problem was when the seal would blow up and send Naruto to the hospital with burns and missing pieces of flesh. But besides that, everything was going well for Naruto. What still held Naruto back from being at the top was the test over various things like what was chakra or who helped make Konoha what it is today. Naruto couldn't focus much on that, but thanks to his training he was able to focus a little bit better. Now today was the day that the test to see who became Genin was now, and Naruto was determined not to fail again. I can't fail, not now, Naruto said to himself again. He remembered when he was brought up to the Hokage because of his hidden fuinjutsu training. Flashback. Naruto, Irika told me you've been training yourself in using fuinjutsu-based techniques, Sarutobi said with a questioning look. Is this true? Yes, the reason why is because no matter how hard I try I can't get down the academy-based ninjutsu, Naruto said with a small amount of depression in his voice. So someone gave me this book on fuinjutsu and I found that I'm pretty good at it. It doesn't have a chakra requirement to use, so that helps me out. Sarutobi nodded his head, but still looked a little worried. You should have told me what you were planning, Naruto, I could have helped you. Fuinjutsu is a very dangerous thing to go around and meddle with. You need to have complete focus. If the slightest thing goes wrong, then it could mean your life. Naruto nodded his head and began to walk out when he remembered something. Old man, do you know of any way to help me with the Bunshin no Jutsu? It's my worst technique. Sarutobi just looked at Naruto with a sad smile. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't help you, and raised his hand in order to prevent an interruption. The reason why is that if I show favoritism, then I'll have to teach others. You understand, don't you? Sarutobi watched as Naruto nodded his head and walked away. When Naruto left, Sarutobi made a small motion with his hand, and that was when an ANBU appeared out of the ground. I want you to keep a close eye on Naruto, Sarutobi said. I want him watched whenever he is not in the academy, understand? The ANBU bowed and disappeared into the floor. The fact that Naruto was beginning to learn fuinjutsu was troubling to Sarutobi, because it meant that soon very specific people will try and either kill or kidnap the young Uzumaki. Naruto, I was hoping this would never happen. Naruto watched as Sasuke stood up and walked to the testing room, and Naruto knew it was his turn next. Hinata looked at Naruto with worry in her eyes. She was happy for Naruto finally finding something he was good at doing, but every student, no matter what technique they learn, have to be able to use the Bunshin Jutsu. Good luck, Naruto-kun, Hinata thought as she saw Sasuke come out with a Konoha headband. Naruto got up, But right before he got to the door, he heard a small voice speak. "Go, good luck, Naruto." The voice said. Naruto turned around, but didn't see where the voice came from. "All right, Naruto, perform a bunshin," Iruka said as he hoped Naruto performed well. Naruto took in a long breath and placed his hands together. In a screen of smoke, Naruto had a clone next to him, but it looked sickly and was laying on the floor twitching. Naruto felt his eye twitch as he looked at Iruka, who looked a little disappointed in Naruto's clone. "I don't understand it, Naruto," Iruka said as he folded his hands together and began to think. "You perform fuinjutsu like you've been doing it all your life, but when it comes down to using the bunshin, it always looks like that." Naruto looked at the ground, depressed at what he heard. But that wasn't until Naruto heard Mizuki speak up. "Come on, Iruka, let's cut him a break this time." Mizuki said this with a kind smile. "Besides, look at what he's done. He is using fuinjutsu, something that people can barely use." Naruto at that got a little hopeful, but that changed when Iruka spoke once more. "That doesn't matter," Iruka said, but by his tone what he was about to say made it seem like it was hurting him. "Every student needs to make a bunshin and he could only make one, and it is pathetic. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't pass you." Iruka looked at Naruto and saw hurt reflected in those deep blue eyes. Naruto walked away and Iruka felt his heart tear from doing that to Naruto. "Excellent, now I can begin my plan," Mizuki thought with a smile that would chill a person to the core. Naruto was sitting on a swing watching as the parents gave their children praises for making it to the ninja ranks. Naruto saw some past looks of disgust and anger his way, but he ignored them. "It doesn't matter," Naruto thought. "I can't pass the test no matter what I try." Suddenly Naruto felt that someone was standing beside of him. When he looked to his right, he saw Mizuki staring at him with a smile. Naruto was running from the Hokage Tower with the scroll of sealing on his back, heading for the place Mizuki said to meet him at. Naruto arrived at the meeting place and looked around, but he didn't see a sign of Mizuki. "Well, I guess since I have this thing, I might as well try to learn something," Naruto said as he opened the scroll and saw the first jutsu. "Kage Bunshin, Shadow Clone. Damn it, that is my worst technique. Oh well, I better get started if I want to learn this thing." Naruto then spent what little bit of time to learn the Kage Bunshin technique. An hour later, a very pissed off Iruka appeared before a tired Naruto. "There you are," Iruka said in a voice filled with anger. "Looks like you found me, sensei," Naruto said as he rubbed the top of his head. "Listen, I'm going to show you this awesome jutsu I learned from this scroll, and you're going to make me a ninja." This confused Iruka as he looked at Naruto. "What are you talking about?" Iruka asked this as he looked at Naruto with a look of sheer confusion. "Mizuki-sensei told me that whoever learns a jutsu from this scroll can graduate even if they didn't pass the graduation exam." Naruto said this with a smile, but that quickly turned into a frown when he saw Iruka looking more shocked and confused. "Iruka, what's dashed?" Naruto didn't finish his sentence. Iruka heard a whistling sound and looked to his right just in time to see kunai thrown at both him and Naruto. "Look out!" Iruka shouted out and shoved Naruto away. Iruka took the entire barrage of kunai and fell against the abandoned cabin. Naruto watched as Iruka coughed up blood. Naruto looked at the direction the kunai were thrown and saw Mizuki with 2 Fuma shurikens on his back. "Mizuki!" Iruka growled out as he tried to move, but pain shot through his entire body. "Naruto, give me the scroll and your test is complete," Mizuki said, hoping that Naruto would believe. "Don't, Naruto," Iruka said. "Mizuki is lying." Mizuki began to laugh at that. "I'm lying, please, Iruka," Mizuki said. "The entire village has been lying to you from the start, Naruto." Iruka's eyes widened when he realized what Mizuki was about to do. "Mizuki, don't," Iruka shouted out. What are you talking about?" Naruto asked. There was a law passed that forbid anyone from talking about the decree," Mizuki said with a smile. "What decree?" Naruto asked, not liking where this was going. "It's forbidden, Mizuki," Iruka yelled out again. "The decree was that no one was to talk about how the kyuubi was sealed inside a baby," Mizuki said and watched as Naruto's eyes widened. "The baby was you, Naruto. That's why everyone hates you and no one will ever miss you when you die." Naruto watched as Mizuki pulled off one of his Fuma shuriken and tossed the oversized buzz saw at Naruto. Naruto watched the blade get closer and closer. Naruto, get down. Naruto heard Iruka shout this out and he ducked. Suddenly Naruto felt something wet drip onto his hand. Naruto looked up and saw Iruka leaning above him with the shuriken in his back. Iruka felt blood come up in his mouth, but despite the pain Iruka smiled down at Naruto. Are you okay, Naruto? Iruka asked with pain in each word. Why? Naruto asked. Because I know what it's like to grow up all alone. Iruka said. I know why you play pranks to get people to notice you. I understand it all, but I never once tried to help you. For that I am sorry, Naruto. Naruto looked at Iruka with some happiness until Mizuki spoke up again. That's a laugh, Mizuki said with a chuckle in his voice. Iruka is just lying to you so you won't go and use the scroll to get your revenge. Who can blame the guy for lying to the one thing that nearly destroyed Konoha? Naruto then did the one thing Iruka didn't want him to do. Naruto took off full speed away from both Iruka and Mizuki. Naruto! Iruka screamed out. You know that look in his eyes, Iruka, Mizuki said as he walked up behind Iruka. He's going to take that scroll and destroy the village with it. That is just how beasts are. Mizuki watched as Iruka yanked the shuriken out of his back. That is not who Naruto is. Iruka shouted this out as he threw the giant weapon at Mizuki, who simply sidestepped out of its way. I think I'll save you for later, Mizuki said. But at the moment I have another appointment to keep. With that Mizuki ran in the direction went. Iruka collapsed onto one knee while glaring at Mizuki. I won't let you, Iruka said as he stood up and ran in the same direction. Mizuki, now transformed into Iruka, saw Naruto running up ahead of him and he smiled. Naruto, everything Mizuki said was a lie, Mizuki said as he came up from behind Naruto. He was only saying those things because ... He never finished as Naruto jumped and slammed his head into Mizuki's gut. Mizuki slammed into the ground with a thud. How did you know that I wasn't Iruka? Mizuki said as his transformation failed. He then saw Naruto smile. Because I'm Iruka, Naruto said as he transformed back into Iruka. Mizuki just pulled off his other shuriken and threw it at Iruka, to which it embedded itself into Iruka's stomach. More blood started to pour out of his mouth as Mizuki walked over and ripped the shuriken out of Iruka's stomach. Why in hell would you be trying to save that animal? Mizuki asked. I mean, it was him that killed your parents, so why protect the beast? Because my problem is with the Kyuubi, not Naruto, Iruka said as he looked at Mizuki with blood all over his face and vest. And aside from the pranks, Naruto has done nothing wrong to try and hurt me or the village. Mizuki just began to laugh. Fine, if you want to die for the demon, then die. Mizuki said this as he swung his shuriken at Mizuki, but before the attack could reach, Naruto delivered a roundhouse kick to Mizuki's head, sending him backwards. If you touch Iruka-sensei one more time, I won't just kill you, Naruto said. I'll rip you to pieces. Mizuki was about to comment when Naruto put his fingers together in a cross sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. The entire area was covered in smoke, and when it cleared, Iruka and Mizuki couldn't believe what they saw. The entire forest was surrounded by hundreds of Naruto. Mizuki looked around and then at his single Fuma shuriken, and one thought passed through his mind before the clones jumped. Fuck me, Mizuki thought as the forest erupted into screams. Naruto watched as the clones disappeared into smoke. Naruto turned around and saw Iruka breathing with difficulty. Iruka-sensei, I'm sorry if I didn't steal this stupid scroll dash. Naruto was interrupted when Iruka chuckled. Judging from the amount of blood, I won't make it much longer, but I at least can make it right, Iruka thought. Naruto, close your eyes. The request confused Naruto, but he did anyway. Okay, open them. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw that Iruka wasn't wearing his headband. Naruto touched his forehead and felt the metal. Congratulations, Naruto, you pass. Naruto watched as Iruka's eyes slowly started to dim. Iruka-sensei, please don't die. Naruto yelled out as he looked around for some people to help them. You're one of the only people who treat me like I'm not a disease. Please don't go. Iruka smiled at Naruto, and then he thought of something. He pulled out a scroll and opened it up, and in a poof of smoke, a vest that's zipper was broken and was black, almost like it had been burned by something. Naruto, this belonged to my father, and seeing how I'm not going to need it anymore. Iruka said this as he gave Naruto the vest. I want you to have it to always remember me by. Naruto didn't know what to say. He looked at the vets, then he looked back at Iruka and started to cry from what he saw and heard from Iruka. Naruto, you were always my favorite student. Almost always acted just like me. With that, Iruka died with a smile on his face. Naruto on the other was crying and gripping Iruka's body, almost like if you squeezed hard enough Iruka would come back. Naruto stayed like that until the Hokage and 3 others appeared and took Mizuki away. Sarutobi approached Naruto cautiously. Naruto, are you alright? Sarutobi asked, already knowing Naruto wasn't alright, but he still needed to ask. He died because of me, Naruto said as he looked at Sarutobi with tears in his eyes. If I didn't ... But Sarutobi quickly grabbed Naruto and pulled him into a hug. It's not your fault, Naruto, Sarutobi said in a very kind tone. Mizuki took advantage of you when he knew you were most vulnerable. The fault lies with him, not you. Naruto cried into the elderly Hokage as Sarutobi took him away from Iruka's body as 2 Jonin came in and started to carry his body back to the village. Sarutobi watched as Naruto put the vest that Iruka gave him over his shirt. Before Sarutobi could speak, Naruto beat him to it. So what's going to happen now? Naruto asked as he held Iruka's headband in his hands. Well, first we need to give Iruka a proper burial, Sarutobi said. Then we need to change the teams around some to place you in. At that, Naruto looked at him with surprise. Why? Naruto asked. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but I thought after tonight. Naruto just trailed off after that. Naruto, Iruka gave you his headband because he believed that you were ready to become a ninja, Sarutobi said with a kind smile. I would be foolish not to take his last choice into account. Naruto nodded his head, but without his normal excitement. So when is his burial? Naruto asked as he looked at the ground. Today, Sarutobi said as he watched Naruto nod one last time and begin to walk for the door. He really did care about you, Naruto. Every time he saw you struggling with a jutsu, he would always come to me for advice. He believed that when you became a ninja you would be the best there was. Naruto stopped at the door, but only for a second before he closed the door behind him. I promise, Iruka, I will always protect who is precious to me, Naruto thought. The funeral went by okay. The classes that Iruka taught all came by to mourn the death of their instructor. But if anything, life for Naruto got worse. The adults asked that the Hokage to strip Naruto of his ninja rank and to ban him from entering the ninja academy because of stealing both the scroll of sealing and having a hand in the death of Iruka, but Sarutobi ignored their requests. Naruto was the first to be at the funeral and the first to lay a flower on Iruka's grave, which didn't sit well with most of the adults. When the funeral was complete, only a few people stayed behind. Naruto, Hinata, Shino, and Sarutobi, who kept glancing at Naruto with what appeared to be worry in his eyes. Shino walked up to Naruto, who was sitting in front of Iruka's grave, and in his own way gave a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Through at first, he was confused at what to do. Sarutobi and Hinata walked up to Naruto as well. Sarutobi gave Naruto a small hug. Then it was just Hinata and Naruto alone. Hinata kept glancing around nervously, trying to decide on what to do or say. That was until Naruto stood up and began to walk away. I'm so sorry about Iruka, Hinata said. You two, we were CL close. Naruto turned around and for the first time today he smiled. Even if it was a sad smile, it was still a smile. Yeah, we were close, Naruto said, looking at his grave again. Hey, Hinata. At this, Hinata looked at Naruto with full attention. Usually Iruka and me would go out for some ramen. So I was wondering, would you like to join me? Hinata was stunned at first and nearly fainted, but she mustered up some willpower and kept her ground. Sure, Naruto, Hinata said with a blush. Hinata knew this wasn't going to be a date, but she knew right now Naruto was not himself and right now he needed someone, and that someone just so happened to be her. Naruto smiled and began to walk toward his favorite ramen stand, thinking about Iruka and all the time they spent together at that one ramen stand. The team assignments were postponed for the 4 days in order to find a new instructor and for some people to get over Iruka. Naruto spent his 4 days in his apartment just throwing his kunai at the wall. The only people he would want to see was either Sarutobi or Hinata. Sarutobi came by every now and then to check up on Naruto, and Hinata came by delivering food for her crush. In those four, both Hinata and Naruto grew close, not close enough to be labeled boyfriend and girlfriend, but close enough to be almost in that category. Hinata was actually the one who got Naruto out of his house and about. Naruto came in wearing his normal smile, signaling to everyone, telling them that Naruto was back. But Naruto carried something with him. A more serious attitude followed the blonde. He still goofed off whenever he had the chance. But whenever someone picked on anyone, his goofy attitude disappeared and was replaced with seriousness. Naruto's appearance changed as well. His hair seemed to have gotten a lot wilder and longer from the past 4 days. What everyone else began to notice is that Naruto began to train harder and faster than ever before, like Irika's death drove home a point to Naruto. As a result, Naruto's arms, hands, and his neck was wrapped up in bandages, making people try and take a peek at what was underneath the bandages. Some people liked the new change in Naruto. It told them that when it came down to the bottom line, he wasn't going to let anyone get hurt on his squad. Someone walked into the classroom carrying a clipboard that everyone guessed had who they were assigned to be in a squad with. "My name is Genma, and I'm here to tell you who your squad is," Genma said as he looked around the room. "So let's get this started." Everyone listened to Genma tell the students who was in which team. Team 7 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Your Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Hitaki. There was several reactions. Sakura began to chant that she was in the same team as Sasuke. Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders, showing indifference. But the strangest reaction of all was the one from Naruto, who showed no reaction except for a small smile that some people missed. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Kiba Inuzuka. Your Jonin sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. Genma continued on until all the squads were named. "Alright, your Jonin senseis should be here to pick you up in an hour or so. Until then, try and get to know your squad mates." Genma left through the door, and students with their squad left as well. Only one squad stayed behind, that being Team 7. Sasuke, would you like to go to eat something while we wait for our teacher?" Sakura said, with the hopes of getting Sasuke alone. Sasuke didn't respond because he was busy watching Naruto begin to draw seals on tags. "Naruto," Sasuke said, getting Naruto's attention. "What are you up to?" Naruto just smiled. That made. "Oh, I'm making a special little seal for a certain someone," Naruto said with amusement. "So how about we go and get something to eat? I'm starved." Naruto got up to leave. "So are you two coming?" Sasuke shrugged and got up and followed Naruto, with Sakura right behind him. Unbeknownst to both Sasuke and Sakura, one of Naruto's Kage Bunshin snuck up and placed 2 of the tags into Sasuke and Sakura's pack. 3 hours later. "Where is he?" Sakura screamed out, walking around. "He is 2 hours late." Naruto, instead of trying to vent his anger, was instead drawing a seal on a bucket of water and a seal right above the door. Sasuke watched what Naruto was doing with confusion. What is he up to now? Sasuke thought as he watched Naruto fill the bucket with water. He then hid the bucket under his desk, propped his feet on his desk, and waited. The door opened and in came a man with his headband covering his left eye and his sliver hair standing straight up, defying gravity. He looked around the room and saw Sakura glaring at the late man. "My first impression is dashed." Kakashi never finished his sentence, because he saw Naruto raise a tiger seal and a poof of smoke. First he was confused until water and a bucket fell on him. "I that you are all wet," Naruto finished for him with a chuckle. Kakashi removed the bucket and looked at it, seeing a seal on the bottom part. Kakashi got a feeling. He looked above the door and saw another seal that was the exact opposite of the one on the bucket. Transference seals. Kakashi thought as he looked at Naruto was walking towards him with his hands in his pockets. So what the Hokage told me was true. He has been studying seals. Naruto walked up to Kakashi and smiled at him. Kakashi chuckled. "Meet me on the roof in 1 minute," Kakashi said as he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto just smiled even more and began to walk up towards the steps that would take him to the roof, with Sasuke and Sakura right behind him. The roof. Kakashi looked at the team in front of him with a critical eye. "Okay, let's see, how about we get through introductions?" Kakashi said as he looked at Sakura. "You Pinky, you're first." The nickname made Sakura anger, but she didn't understand what Kakashi wanted. "What do you mean?" Sakura asked. "Alright, I'll go first," Kakashi said with a sigh. My name is Kakashi Hatake. My dislikes are I don't feel like talking about. I like many things, and I haven't really thought of my future. All we learned was his name. The three of them thought with a sweat drop. My name is Sakura Haruno and I like. Sakura looked at Sasuke and blushed. I dislike perverts and stupid Ino, and my dream. She looked at Sasuke and giggled. All right, you with the attitude, Kakashi said, pointing to Sasuke, who looked only slightly annoyed. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, Sasuke said. I have no likes and many dislikes. My dream. No, my ambition is to revive the Uchiha clan and kill a certain man. Kakashi was slightly worried about Sasuke, but for the time being he had to put it off. All right, Whiskers, you're next, Kakashi said, pointing to Naruto, who was designing some new seal. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said, not looking up from his seal. I like to design new seals and learn new jutsu. I hate people who won't give someone a chance to know them before persecuting them. My dream is to have people remember a certain clan, but also my dream is to become Hokage. All right, I have a fangirl, a avenger, and a Jinchuriki who has an interest in fuinjutsu, Kakashi thought with interest. All right, everyone meet me at Training Ground 3 for the Genin test, Kakashi said and raised his hand to stop any interruptions. Get there at 8 o'clock a.m. sharp. Oh, and don't eat anything because you will puke. With that, Kakashi vanished in a swirl of leaves, leaving behind his team with their thoughts. Tomorrow, Training Ground 7. Team 7 were waiting in the field for Kakashi to show up now that he was an hour late. Sakura kept bouncing around, but Sasuke and Naruto were being patient. Naruto secretly created a few clones to place seals around the area, and Sasuke was just leaning against a tree. Kakashi suddenly appeared, waving at the group. Where have you been? Sakura screamed out. Well, you see, Kakashi said with a smile. I was walking this way when an elderly lady required my assistance. Then I had to avoid a black cat that crossed my path, and then I just got lost on the road of life. Sakura just outright called him a liar. Sasuke didn't do anything but stand up, but Naruto had the most startling reaction. Lost on the road of life, Naruto said with a raised eyebrow, and Kakashi nodded his head. That happens to me sometimes, that road as some great scenery doesn't. That shocked everyone, but Kakashi recovered and smiled at the blonde. Yes, it does, Naruto, Kakashi said. All right, let's get this test started. Kakashi then held up 2 bells. The ones who get the bells pass and get to eat, while the other one is tied to the pole. But Kakashi, there is only 2 bells, Sakura stated, getting a smile from her sensei. Exactly, one of you will not pass and will be sent back to the academy. That got shocked looks out of everyone. So you better come at me with the intent to kill. Go! Kakashi shouted this out and watched as the group disappeared. Kakashi was looking around. Pretty good, Kakashi said. I can't find Dashta. Kakashi stopped when Naruto appeared in front of him. You know you're supposed to hide, right? To which Naruto smiled. Yeah. But if I hide, then I can't try out my seals. Naruto said this as he unclipped one of the pockets on his vest. No, either this will work or this will explode and kill me. But hey, live and learn. Naruto pulled out a red tag that had seal on it for fire. I shouldn't let my guard down, no telling what is going to happen, Kakashi thought as he got in a ready stance. Naruto lifted the seal up until it was level with his head. He then let the seal go and held his palm facing the back of the tag. The seal floated in mid-air, confusion Kakashi until he heard Naruto speak. Fuinjutsu, Shikyaku, sealing technique, incineration, Naruto stated quite plainly. The tag suddenly burst into flames, leaving behind a fireball. Kakashi looked at it and was about to speak before the fireball shot forward into a stream of fire. Kakashi dodged out of the fire stream's way, but when Naruto moved his arm, the fire followed. Kakashi kept running until the fire died out. He managed to put fire into a seal, Kakashi thought with amazement. When the fire died, Naruto looked at his hand in thought. 3 seconds. Naruto said, confusion Kakashi. That is how long that seal lasts, is 3 seconds. Naruto then reached for another tag, but Kakashi wasn't about to let him. Kakashi disappeared in a burst of speed, surprising Naruto. Kakashi appeared behind Naruto and delivered a chop to the back of his neck to knock him out. But instead of falling to the ground, Naruto disappeared. Kage Bunshin, Kakashi said with a smile. He could be interesting. Kakashi looked around and saw Naruto was nowhere to be seen. So the real one is hiding somewhere, sending his clones in to attack me with fuinjutsu, trying to scout out a weakness. Looks like all that fuinjutsu training really paid off for both his intelligence and patience. Kakashi kept looking, but decided to create a few clones to go and find the three kids. Come on, have you two ever heard of a two-man squad? Naruto asked both Sasuke and Sakura, who looked skeptical. Maybe this is a special rule, Sakura said, but even she doubted it. Sasuke just looked thoughtful while Naruto looked from one to the other. Alright, let's just work together. I'll create an opening, you guys get in there, and get those bells. I don't care if I lose, alright? Naruto said as he stood up and ran through the forest. What do you think, Sasuke? Sakura asked as she looked at her crush. Sasuke didn't answer back, but watched Naruto's fading form. Where in this world are they? Kakashi asked no one in particularly, but got an answer. Maybe you should look in the trees, came the reply. Kakashi looked up to see Naruto holding two red tags. Fuinjutsu, Shikyaku. Two streams of fire came roaring towards Kakashi, who had to dodge the raging fire. When the two fire streams died, Naruto emerged from the blaze with a fire in his eyes. Naruto made a punch to Kakashi's head, but he ducked just in time and delivered a kick to Naruto's side. Naruto was sent into a tree where he erupted into smoke. What is he up to? Kakashi thought to himself. He keeps sending clones, it's almost like he's. That was when it hit Kakashi like a ton of bricks. Oh shit! Kakashi yelled out as he made a run to the forest's exit. He is using seals, that means he could have dashed up. Naruto appeared in front of him with his hands together in a serpent seal. Laid a trap. Naruto finished. Fuinjutsu, Horin, sealing technique, disintegration circle. Naruto said this, and suddenly from the two of the trees that were on Kakashi's right and left side shot out an orange-hued tendril with spiraling yellow patterns to wrap around Kakashi and pin his arms to his side. Kakashi looked and saw that both tendrils were coming from tags on the tree's surface. Damn it, how could I fallen for an obvious trap? But maybe if I took out one of the tags it would free me, Kakashi thought. Kakashi managed to free one of his hands and threw an explosive kunai at one of the trees. When the kunai exploded and destroyed the tree, the orange tendrils disappeared. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto on the ground breathing hard. It looks like that seal requires a constant flow of chakra, and if that flow is disturbed in a single instance it drains you, doesn't. But that was when he saw Naruto smile. I never planned one keeping you still, Naruto said with amusement in his blue eyes. Kakashi's eye widened as he looked and saw both Sasuke and Sakura reaching for one of the bells. Very good, but I'm a jonin for a reason, Kakashi said, making everyone stop. And now I know not to go into the forest. With that, Kakashi's clone exploded into smoke. Damn it, a Kage Bunshin, Naruto cursed. Naruto then reached down and undid the bandages around his right arm, revealing seals that meant many different things. But from what Sakura could see, it meant static. At this rate, I'm going to have to reveal some of my secret fuinjutsu. Naruto then got up onto unsteady feet and looked towards the forest exit. Let's move. Kakashi looked at the clock and saw that they had about 3 minutes left. They already got the concept that they were to work together, but let's see if they can get these bells. Kakashi said this as he saw the three emerge from the forest, but what shocked Kakashi was the fact that Naruto's arms was covered in seals. Now what? Naruto stopped a few feet in front of Kakashi. Care to explain what you have planned with those? Naruto smiled. He raised his left hand in a tiger seal while he pointed his right finger arm stretched at Kakashi. Did you know that static electricity is always in the air? Naruto said as he spoke. Sasuke was finishing his hand sign and Sakura was pulling out a kunai. Kakashi had a nervous feeling in his stomach. Okay, so what of it? Kakashi said, which just made Naruto smile. Fuinjutsu, Byakurai, sealing technique, pale lighting. Naruto stated, and suddenly the seals on his right arm began to glow and crackle like lightning. Kakashi watched until a blue light appeared on Naruto's finger. Kakashi dodged a static bolt that missed him by inches, but when he looked back he saw Sasuke with his hands together in a tiger seal. Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. Sasuke said with his fingers curled around his lips in a ring. Kakashi was forced to dodge a potently lethal jutsu only to run into Sakura, who swung her kunai at him. When I told them to come at me with the intent to kill, I didn't think they would take it so seriously. Kakashi thought as he grabbed Sakura by the arm and twisted it until she dropped the kunai, at which Kakashi grabbed it and held it to her throat. Now what will you do? Kakashi watched as Naruto's arm began to glow from the static electricity building up. Naruto then did something Kakashi didn't plan out. Naruto turned and blasted the static bolt at Sasuke. Sasuke watched as the bolt came closer and closer, but before it hit him it turned and hit his pack. Sasuke watched as his pack absorbed the bolt and then disappeared. What was that dashed? Kakashi didn't finish when he heard a crackle. He looked down and saw that Sakura's pack was glowing. Fuck! Was all Kakashi had time to say before the static bolt shoot out of Sakura's pack and hit him in the stomach. Kakashi dropped both Sakura and the kunai. Kakashi was charged with electricity, but instead of blasting through him, the bolt of static simply slowed down his movements like it was tensing up his muscles. Think of it as a taser. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto on his knee breathing hard as his arms seemed to be hurting. But nevertheless Naruto smiled as both Sakura and Sasuke jumped at the bells, but right before they could touch them the bell rang. Kakashi let out a sigh as he felt his muscles relax. Looks like none of you got any bells, Kakashi said as he waved for the group to follow him. Kakashi watched as each of the three sat down at various posts. Even though I wasn't even using my full power, they really came close. Kakashi looked at Naruto with a frown. Naruto was still holding his right arm, but he was moving it a little bit more. Naruto, what did you do when you fired at Sasuke? Naruto didn't answer, but he reached and grabbed Sakura's pack and pulled out a burnt tag. Yesterday when we were assigned a team together, I wanted to make sure that if either Sakura or Sasuke got captured I could get them out, Naruto said as he laid the tag down and watched as it slowly turned into ash and floated away. Sasuke took off his pack and emptied it, but the only thing he got was a pile of ash. So you made sure you could get your teammate out of a tight spot, Kakashi said with a proud tone. Where did you think about that? That was when Naruto's smile turned into a sad frown. I thought of it when Irika died, Naruto stated with sadness. That was when Kakashi realized he hit a very sensitive nerve. Well, I guess I just have to send all three of you back to the academy, Kakashi said as he turned around, giving them one final test. Let's see if them working together was a fluke. No, we don't fail, Sasuke and Sakura said at the same time. Oh, and why not? Kakashi said with an anger voice. Because the test wasn't to get the bells, it was to see if we could work together, Sasuke said with a smirk. And besides, whoever heard of a two-man squad? Sakura said with a note of pride in her voice. Really, then I guess I have no choice, Kakashi said as lightning flashed behind him. You all, pass. This got cheers from everyone. Kakashi walked up to Naruto as he wrapped up his right arm. How is your arm? Naruto looked up and smiled. It's fine, Naruto said as he finished the bandage. It's just if I use it too much I start to feel the static starting to tighten my muscles. But I'm fine. Kakashi nodded his head and looked at the other two. What do you think of this team? Kakashi asked, curious to see what Naruto would say. I'd say we're ready for anything, Naruto said as he looked at Sasuke and Sakura. Now what say you and I travel down that road of life and see the sights? Kakashi gave off a chuckle and patted Naruto on the back. Do you have the target in sight? Kakashi's voice said over the earpiece. Yes, Sasuke said. Roger, Naruto said with a chuckle. Yes, Sakura said. Then move in, Kakashi said. Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke all charged out of the forest and ran at the target, who ran away only to be caught by Naruto's Kage Bunshin. The cat kept trying to claw at Naruto's clone, but it kept the beast of a cat away from anything vital. Target captured, the group said as Naruto grabbed the cat and his clone disappeared. Check the collar, does it have the name Tora? Kakashi said. Yes, Naruto said as he took a look, but got to close and received a scratch to his face. Naruto yanked the cat away and was tempted to throw the feline, But that was when Naruto remembered that this was a mission. "Tora!" screamed the fire daimyo's wife. "Don't you ever run away again." She said this as she laid money down on Sarutobi's desk and walked out squeezing the cat. "I feel so bad for the cat," Naruto thought as he cringed as he saw the cat's eyes dart around for an escape. "Good job, everyone," Sarutobi said with a smile. "Now what other job do you want? We have painting, house-sitting, or dashed." Sarutobi never finished as Naruto interrupted. "None of the above," Naruto said. "I think it's time we get a real mission." Sarutobi looked at Naruto with a smile. "Oh, and why should you?" Sarutobi asked. "Well, it's simply," Naruto said with a smile. "We are the best." Kakashi slapped Naruto upside the head. Naruto glared at Kakashi, but he was looking at his orange book. Sarutobi looked at Kakashi and the rest of his team and sighed. "Kakashi, what is your opinion?" Sarutobi asked. Kakashi looked up and then looked at his team. Sasuke was indifferent, just looking around the room. Sakura was watching Sasuke and Naruto with a nervous smile, and then Naruto, who was busy drawing a new idea for a seal. "I think they can handle a C-rank mission," Kakashi said and smiled as his team looked at him with gratitude in their eyes. Sarutobi smiled. "All right, it just so happens I have a mission that is an easy little escort mission to the Nami no Kuni, Land of Waves." Sarutobi said this and the door opened to reveal an old man with a straw hat and a bottle of sake. "This is Tazuna and this is the team that will be escorting you." Tazuna looked at the group and frowned. "This is it," Tazuna said in a degrading tone. "They're just a bunch of kids and the blonde one looks like he is the weakest." Naruto ended up getting a tick mark on his. "Hey, listen, Grandpa," Naruto shouted, getting Tazuna's complete attention. "I don't care if you're the person we are supposed to escort. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and I'm going to lead this village one day." Naruto looked at Tazuna and saw a flash of thoughtfulness pass through his eyes. "Uzumaki," Tazuna thought with confusion. "Why does that name sound so familiar?" Tazuna shook it off for now. "I guess they'll do. Let's get going." With that, Tazuna turned around and began to walk away. But with his back turned, the group never saw that he was still thinking about Naruto's last name. Naruto was walking along with Kakashi as Sasuke and Sakura stayed with Tazuna. Kakashi was reading from his book when a reflection caught his eye. He looked over at it and saw a puddle of water. "That's strange, it hasn't watered here for days," Kakashi thought as he slowly placed his book back into his pack. Suddenly 2 forms erupted out of the water. Both were wearing breathing masks and had tattered cloaks with 2 gauntlets chained together. The 2 individuals managed to wrap Kakashi in the barb chain. "One down," Meizu said with a happy glee in his eyes. Then the chains tightened and cut Kakashi in 2. 3 to go, Gozu finished. The 2 turned around and were greeted with a roundhouse kick delivered by Naruto and Sasuke. The 2 ducked under the kicks and seemed to glide across the ground like ghosts. "They're fast," Sasuke thought as he looked at Naruto, who reached for his left arm bandages. "Whatever you have planned, Naruto, better do it quickly." Naruto ripped his bandages off, revealing a storage seal on his wrist that went up to his elbow. Naruto channeled chakra into the seal and in a poof of smoke Naruto was holding a Fuma shuriken. But instead of having straight points, the points were curved like fangs and was pure black. "Sasuke, tell me, can you give me an opening?" Naruto said as he began to spin the deadly-looking shuriken. "Please Dobe, look who you are talking to," Sasuke said with a smirk. Sasuke charged at the brothers, who charged right at him. But before they got within a few inches of Sasuke, they jumped towards Sakura, who was holding a kunai in a protective stance in front of Tazuna. "Damn!" Naruto cursed as he spun around on his heel and threw the shuriken above the brothers, which confused the group. Sasuke looked at Naruto and saw he had his fingers in a bird sign and knew what he was doing. Sasuke charged at the demon brothers, who neared ever closer to Sakura. But right before they raised their gauntlets, they heard something that made them look up. Fuinjutsu, Hisamirashi Renda, Sealing Technique, Hailstorm Barrage. What they saw almost made them shit themselves. The shuriken that Naruto threw was now glowing with seals traced all along the blade's edges. But that wasn't what scared them, it was what came out of the shuriken seals. Various weapons, from spears to kunai and swords to daggers, came raining down at the 2 brothers, who were forced to dodge or become a living pin cushion. Mizo looked at Naruto, who was smiling at him. "We need to take care of him," Mizo said to his brother, who nodded his head. The two began to run at Naruto, but that was when the brothers got a second scare. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. They heard this and narrowly dodged a fireball that incinerated the trees right next to them. They looked at Sasuke and then at each other and nodded. Suddenly the chain connecting the two broke off. Gozu and Meizu went after different targets. Gozu charged at Naruto while Meizu began his approach towards Sasuke. Naruto began to place both of his fingers together into the cross sign when two dogs appeared out of nowhere and tackled Gozu to the ground and pinned him. Meizu looked over to his brother and was rewarded with a punch to the face, knocking him out. "Well done, everyone," Kakashi said as his dogs kept Gozu pinned to the ground. Kakashi walked over to the downed shinobi and knocked him out as well. When the dogs disappeared in smoke, Kakashi grabbed the two and tied them to a tree. "You know this aren't bandits, Tazuna?" Kakashi looked at Tazuna, who seemed to be trying to shy away from Kakashi's eye. "Care to explain?" Tazuna looked up and sighed. Tazuna began to tell the story of Gato and how he invaded and took over his village. He told them that his village was weak on economy because of Gato, so the only ranking mission he could afford was a C rank. Kakashi nodded his head. "Well, with the introduction of the Demon Brothers, I'd say this mission just went from a C rank to an A rank. Usually when a client lies, we are to take him back to the village, and since this is a mission that ... But he was interrupted by Naruto. "We're not going to just quit, are we?" Naruto said as he stood right next to Tazuna after he resealed all the weapons back into the shuriken and put the shuriken back into the seal on his arm. "Look, I never back down and I never give up, and that includes missions." Kakashi looked at the rest of his team. "Do the rest of you feel this way?" Kakashi asked. "We agreed to take this mission," Sasuke said as he began to walk in the direction of Nami no Kuni. "It might be hard, but we're ready," Sakura said as she turned around and walked towards Sasuke. "All right, we continue the mission," Kakashi said as he turned and saw that his team was already disappearing over a hill. Sasuke was walking when he heard a sound coming from the bushes, and then faster than anyone react, he threw a kunai into the bush. Suddenly a pure white rabbit jumped out of the bushes, scared for its life. Sakura managed to grab the rabbit and began to calm it down. "You could have hurt the rabbit, Sasuke," Sakura said. Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders and continued to walk. Kakashi managed to catch up just in time to see the rabbit before Sakura sat it down to release it. "A snow rabbit here in this weather," Kakashi thought, and then heard a whizzing sound and turned to see a giant sword spinning towards them. "Get down!" The group ducked just as the blade passed right above them and embedded into the tree. The group looked up and saw a man standing on the blade's hilt. He wore a scarf around the lower half of his face. He had camouflaged pants and wore no shirt. "Zabuza Momochi," Kakashi said with a glare as he stood up slowly. "Kirigakure no Kijin, Demon of the Hidden Mist." "Kakashi Hataki," Zabuza said with a hint of amusement. "Copy Ninja no Kakashi, Copy Ninja Kakashi. This is excellent. I can kill the bridge builder and one of Konoha's elite." "Stay out of this fight, he is out of your league," Kakashi said as he lifted up his headband and revealed a Sharingan eye. Sasuke stayed at the eye in shock. "He's not an Uchiha, is he?" Sasuke thought as he watched Kakashi settle into a fighting position. Kakashi looked back at his team and smiled at them. "Don't worry, I won't let him hurt any of you." Kakashi said this as he turned around and saw Zabuza holding his giant sword in his hands. "Are you through with the sappy goodbye?" Zabuza asked in a mocking tone. Kakashi's answer was charging at Zabuza with a kunai already drawn. Kakashi swung his kunai at Zabuza, who jumped above Kakashi and swung his sword at his head. But Kakashi threw his head back just in time to miss having a nasty haircut. Kakashi jumped back and delivered a kick to Zabuza's side, which sent him back to where he was standing. But only this time he was laying on his back. Kakashi stopped himself and was about to charge when Zabuza put his hands together. "Kirigakure no Jutsu, Hidden Mist Technique," Zabuza said as a thick mist came rolling in and started to conceal him. Kakashi's eyes narrowed as he found it difficult to see even with his Sharingan. "The mist is laced with chakra," Kakashi thought. "This is going to get bad." That was when he heard Zabuza's voice. "There is so many places to kill you at," Zabuza said. There is just so many I don't know what to hit. That was when Kakashi knew where he was going to strike. The bridge builder, Kakashi thought as he ran towards the location of Naruto and the rest of the team. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were in a semicircle around Tazuna when Zabuza appeared right in the middle of them with his sword already held in a striking position. Zabuza saw Kakashi appear and smiled at him. Sorry, but you dash dot. Zabuza stopped when a bunch of Kage Bunshins landed on him in the form of Naruto. Lose, Naruto said, finishing Zabuza's sentence. Naruto had his right arm up and on his palm he was holding a red tag. Zabuza. Zabuza looked at Tazuna, Sakura, and Sasuke and watched as they disappeared into smoke. Fuinjutsu, Shikyaku. Zabuza's eyes widened when he saw a jet of fire launch at him, incinerating the clones. But when the blaze died, there was nothing but a wet spot on the ground. Naruto gritted his teeth as he saw that it wasn't the real Zabuza. Naruto looked into the woods and saw Sasuke and Sakura coming out of the forest with Tazuna close by. Good work, Naruto, Kakashi said, proud at his student. Now Sasuke, Sakura, and Dash. He never finished his sentence as Naruto was grabbed by a water-like whip and swung into several trees until he landed almost 3 feet away from Zabuza's blade tip. Naruto! Kakashi tried to get over to Naruto, but was stopped when several water clones came out of the woods and water around them. Sorry, but I have some business with the runt, Zabuza said. But I'm sure my clones can keep you company. They may only have 1/10 of my strength, but I'm sure if I have a small army attacking you that it won't make much of a difference. Damn it, Kakashi thought as he pulled out his kunai and looked at Naruto, who gave him a thumbs up. He must have been making clones in order to prepare for us, but if that is the case then he should be almost out of chakra. That was when he noticed a small bag laying on the ground. Soldier pills, I have to get to Naruto and fast. Zabuza chuckled as he watched his clones begin the attack. Now then, where were we, runt? Zabuza said, but Naruto's answer was a mumble. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Are you so scared that you can't even talk right? That was when Naruto screamed out his answer. My name is not Runt, Naruto screamed. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Zabuza's eyes widened at the sound of Naruto's last name. No, he can't be an Uzumaki, Zabuza thought. The Uzumakis were all wiped out long ago. Zabuza was so busy with his thoughts he didn't notice as Naruto removed his bandages around both of his arms and neck, revealing seals all over them. Zabuza noticed the seals and gritted his teeth. Damn it, he is an Uzumaki. Zabuza jumped back away from Naruto and brought his sword up, pointing it up at Naruto. Sorry kid, if I let you live you could become a big problem for my mission. That was when Zabuza charged, but noticed as Naruto's right arm began to glow and crackle like electricity. Fuinjutsu, Byakurai. Naruto stated quite plainly and shot out a static bolt that nailed Zabuza on his left arm, numbing it. So the seal on his right arm sucks in static electricity and shoots it out in a bolt, paralyzing anything that it hits. Zabuza thought, analyzing Naruto's seals. His left arm has a storage seal that contains a giant shuriken that has a lot of other different weapons sealed in it. So my first target should be to immobilize that right arm of his. Zabuza looked at his left arm and felt his feeling coming back. Zabuza charged and swung his sword, but Naruto put some chakra into his storage seal, and out popped out his giant shuriken. Zabuza's blade hit the shuriken and forced Naruto tumbling backwards, but Naruto quickly regained his footing and threw the massive blade at Zabuza, who dodged to the left and swung his sword with enough force to snap the spinning blade in two. Zabuza expected to see the shuriken cut in two, but it disappeared and revealed a Kage Bunshin that disappeared in smoke. He turned a Kage Bunshin into a real shuriken. Zabuza thought with amazement. This kid is a goldmine. If he was in Kirigakure, I would have took him with me. Zabuza snapped out of his trance when he saw Naruto place his hands together, palms facing Zabuza. That was when Zabuza noticed the seals on Naruto's palms. So he can only use that seal whenever he puts his palms together. That was when Zabuza noticed that the wind around him was being pulled towards Naruto. Oh, this could be bad. I only have enough chakra for this one, Naruto thought as he felt his body began to give on him. I can't miss. Fuinjutsu, Tenrin, Sealing Technique, Orchid Sky. Naruto shouted this out as a ball of spinning wind appeared in his hands. Zabuza's eyes widened when the ball expanded and became a raging tornado-shaped drill. Zabuza watched as the drill-shaped tornado began to rip chunks of the ground off. "Fuck me," Zabuza thought as he ran. He jumped onto the water and kept running. But when he turned around he saw Naruto straining himself, putting more chakra into his jutsu. The kid is going to kill himself. That was when the tornado split into two and flew towards Zabuza. Zabuza watched as the two-twister came closer and closer, but just when they were going to slice him apart they disintegrated. Zabuza with wide eyes looked towards Naruto and found him to be on one knee sucking in lung full of air while blood gently dripped from his mouth. "I need to end this silly game right now," Zabuza said. He placed his hands together and the mist came rolling back in. Naruto looked around him looking for Zabuza, but he didn't notice Zabuza slowly emerging from the mist just like a demon. "Sorry kid, nothing personal." Naruto turned his head just in time to see Zabuza swing his massive sword at him. Kakashi finally finished the last clone and saw the mist Zabuza made fade slightly, and he saw a sight that made him panic. Zabuza was swinging his sword at the only blind spot every creature had: the neck. "Naruto!" Kakashi and the rest of his team screamed out. Cling! Zabuza stared in amazement as a purple-looking hexagon-like barrier appeared right behind Naruto, shielding him from Zabuza's attack. Naruto took this chance and jumped away from Zabuza, but as soon as his feet touched the ground, he collapsed onto one knee. Naruto looked at Zabuza, and that was when Zabuza saw it. The seal around Naruto's throat had expanded and was now reaching his eyes, but the seal began to fall off Naruto's face and the barrier shattered like glass. "That is one nifty seal you have there, kid," Zabuza said. "But it appears that you can do it only once." Naruto cursed and tried to stand, but fell once again. "You're right," Naruto said. "That specific seal is a one-time deal. I can use it only once before the seal peels off like paper by itself. Then, I'm forced to draw another one." Zabuza chuckled and began to walk towards Naruto, each step making Naruto feel something he never felt before: fear for his death. Each step Zabuza took felt as though death was slowly approaching Naruto. Naruto, for the first time in his life, saw his life flash before his eye, and what he saw depressed the young blonde. "Maybe this is for the best," Naruto thought. "I only had and have a few people who care about me, and because of me, one of them died. Maybe I should just accept it." Then, images of Hinata visiting him day after day came into his mind. She always came by to see if Naruto needed anything, and whenever he told her he was fine, she would stay behind just to make sure. He remembered how Team 7 cared for him, and he felt confused why he was remembering these things. It was as if his brain is trying to contradict itself. All of a sudden, Naruto wasn't quite sure he wanted to die anymore. Before Zabuza could even raise his blade, he was forced backwards by two fireballs and a barrage of kunais with explosive tags on them. Naruto looked up and saw his entire team in front of him in a protective stance, with Tazuna standing next to him holding what appeared to be a mallet. What are dash dot? Naruto managed to get this out as put force behind his leg in attempt to stand before he fell and was caught by Tazuna. "Because, Naruto, we're a team and we help one another," Kakashi said as Sakura and Sasuke nodded. "Now rest. I think you really need it." With that, Naruto closed his eyes and let the darkness take him. "You're going to pay for what you did to him," Kakashi told Zabuza with a menacing tone. Zabuza laughed at Kakashi. "I didn't do anything. It's just that his clan was always a bunch of reckless people." Zabuza sneered at them. When his eyes took in the confused looks of Team 7, he decided he might just as well taunt them a little as he gave the signal to the unseen figure in the trees. "You don't know anything about him, do you? Well, let me fill you in on a little secret." However, Zabuza never got a chance to fill Team 7 in the secret, for 3 senbons came sailing out of nowhere and got him straight in the back of his neck. Team 7 stared at the mysterious senbons, stunned as Zabuza collapsed to the ground in an unceremonious heap. Before anyone regained their control, a ninja wearing a Chunin mask appeared right next to Zabuza's corpse. "Thank you," he said in an odd female-like voice. "If it wasn't for you, then I would never have had an opening." He picked up Zabuza's limp body and held out a tiger sign. "Before I leave, I suggest you look at your friend, for he doesn't look very well. Farewell," he told them as he disappeared in a poof of smoke. Team 7 was shaken out of shock as Tazuna called out to them. He's sweating and shaking. I don't think it's a very good sign. Tazuna told Team 7 in a worried tone as he looked at Naruto, who was looking a little pale. Damn, he used too much chakra in that fight, Kakashi thought as he walked over to Naruto. He's suffering from severe chakra exhaustion, Kakashi explained to others as he forced Naruto's mouth opened and forced in some soldier pills. But inside he was thinking of what went wrong. I thought the Kyuubi would prevent something like this, but I guess Naruto was overusing the seals. I think the seals are consuming chakra too fast for it to be balanced by him or the seal for regulating Kyuubi's chakra. He's going to be fine, right, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura said with frightened voice as she took in the image of Naruto lying helplessly on the ground. Kakashi looked up and gave her an eye smile. Yeah, he should be fine. Naruto is always full of energy. Kakashi said this, but deep down he was thinking something else. But if he keeps this up, I'm afraid he might end up killing himself with these seals. Kakashi muttered to himself in a soft voice that only he could hear. Sasuke looked at Naruto, then back at Kakashi with a confused expression. What did Zabuza mean by the people from Naruto's clan were always reckless? Sasuke asked. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I've never heard of an Uzumaki clan. Kakashi lied. Actually, it wasn't a total lie. Kakashi had heard about a certain powerful clan that in a sense went extinct years ago, for there is few to no survivors, but he didn't know the exact references about them or basically anything about them. Tazuna went into the forest and came back with some vines and 2 long pieces of wood. We could make a stretcher for him, Tazuna suggested, receiving a nod from Kakashi. When the stretcher was finished, Kakashi laid Naruto on it and began to walk down the path to the water as Tazuna, Sasuke, and Sakura carried the stretcher. Hang in there, Naruto, we'll get you to a place where you can rest, Kakashi thought as he looked at the limp body of Naruto. Zabuza woke up in bed with Haku hovering over him, tending to his wounds. Haku noticed the change in breathing and saw that Zabuza was awake. Zabuza-sama, Haku said with a lot of respect in his voice. How are you feeling? Zabuza just grunted and looked away. Only moments after Zabuza woke up, the door opened and Gato walked in with 2 sword-carrying bodyguards. Well, I couldn't believe it without seeing it for myself. It appears as though what I heard is true. Gato snickered as he sauntered over to Zabuza. The great Zabuza beaten by mere children. Gato sneered and reached out to Zabuza. However, his hand was caught by a firm hand. Gato looked to see the owner of the hand and he found himself getting glared at by Haku. You will not place your filthy hands on him, Haku told him with finality as he gave Gato's arm a tight squeeze, cracking couple bones in the process. Ah! Gato yelled out in pain and yanked his injured arm away from Haku. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. Understand, Zabuza? With that, Gato turned on his heel and the 3 of them left, slamming the door behind them. Haku got up and began to walk to the window with a basket in his arms. Where are you going? Zabuza asked as he turned his head toward Haku with a questioning look. We are out of herbs. I need to go and get some more. Haku momentarily paused as he told Zabuza. However, before Haku even got a chance to take couple steps, Zabuza grabbed Haku's clothes. Sit. I need to tell you about that blonde kid I fought, Zabuza said and tried to sit up as Haku began to protest. My injuries can wait. This is much more important. With that, he began to tell Haku about Naruto and his clan. Naruto opened his eyes and felt himself getting gently rocked back and forth. He sat up slowly and felt the blankets he was wrapped in slid off him. What happened? Naruto groaned out, only to receive a rock-hard punch from Sakura. Ow! What was that for? He yelped. That was for making us worry, knucklehead, Sakura told him as Kakashi looked behind him to see what was with all those commotion. When he saw that Naruto woke up, Kakashi navigated himself towards Naruto as carefully as he could on the tiny boat. Naruto, how do you feel? Kakashi asked in voice that meant business. Fine, I just have a headache. No sooner have those words left Naruto's mouth. Naruto leaned over the boat and puked out what little bit of food he had in his stomach. Okay, scratch that, I don't feel all that great. Nausea is expected after recovering from such heavy chakra exhaustion. Kakashi said told Naruto in concerned voice as he held 3 fingers. How many fingers am I holding up? Kakashi asked. Naruto looked confused as he tried to look at the hand. 3. Naruto said as he laid back down to try and ease the pain in his stomach. Okay, you should be fine. Just take it easy for today, alright? Nothing too stressful. Kakashi told Naruto as he returned back to his book with a perverted smile. Yeah, this would be so fun. Naruto mumbled out as they approached dry land, not knowing what awaited them. When the boat hit the dock, Tazuna stayed and helped Naruto out of the boat. Naruto's leg shook as his feet hit the ground and Naruto clutched at the boat to stable himself. Damn it! Naruto cursed as he finally felt what it meant to be as weak as a defenseless kitten. Tazuna helped Naruto regain his footing and stayed close to him just in case he fell again. Are you going to be alright, kid? The worried voice of Tazuna asked Naruto. Yeah, I'll be fine, old man, Naruto said, and as he saw Tazuna's eyebrow twitch at the phrase old man, Naruto couldn't help but to chuckle. Let's just get to my house before I decide to leave you to yourself to walk without any support, Tazuna told Naruto with a little anger in his voice, obviously upset at the comment about his age. When the boat hit the dock, Tazuna stayed and helped Naruto out of the boat. When Naruto's feet hit the ground, he nearly fell. Damn it! Naruto cursed as he finally felt what it meant to be as weak as a defenseless kitten. Tazuna helped Naruto regain his footing, but Tazuna stayed close to him just in case he fell again. Are you going to be alright, kid? Tazuna asked with a carrying voice. Yeah, I'll be fine, old man, Naruto said and chuckled as he saw Tazuna's eyebrow twitch. Let's just get to my house before I force you to walk without any support, Tazuna said with a little bit of anger in his voice. Tsunami Inari, Tazuna yelled out as he entered his home. A young woman looked around the corner and ran at Tazuna, giving him a big hug. Father, I was worried. I thought Gato would do whatever it took to get rid of you, Tsunami said with a little fear in her eyes. I'm fine thanks to this group. He gestured at the team behind him. This is Tsunami and this. He looked around for Inari when he came down the steps. Is Inari? A pleasure to meet you. I'm Kakashi Hatake, Kakashi said and pointed to his students as he named them off. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunami's eyes widened as she heard Naruto's last name, but it was gone as soon as it came. However, this was not lost in Naruto and he started to get really annoyed why people reacted like that to his name. Okay, what's wrong with my last name? Naruto asked, clearly annoyed by everyone looking at him as though he had grown another limb or something. I'm sorry, I just thought I heard that name before. Tsunami shook her head slightly and apologized with a meek smile. I'll go make dinner. Father, why don't you come with me? I have something to show you. Tazuna seemed confused, but he nonetheless followed Tsunami's lead. As soon as the two were out of the earshot of the other 4, Tsunami spun on her heel and faced her father. Do you realize who he is? Tsunami asked with an apprehensive smile. Yes, he's the kid that kept me safe. Tazuna was interrupted by Tsunami bonking him in the head with a wooden spoon. No, Tsunami sighed as she rolled her eyes. You used to tell me stories about a certain hidden village that existed here, and you told me many stories especially pertaining to a certain powerful clan that basically ruled the village. Tsunami told her father in hopes of making her father remember, but he still looked confused. Tsunami let out a big sigh and she grabbed her father's hand. She led her father to a locked shelf and opened the lock, taking out a rather thick book and shoved it into his stomach with all her might. Maybe this will refresh your memory. Tazuna looked at the book and saw the spiral, and then the memories of a certain clan flooded back into his mind. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. Tazuna muttered to himself as he looked at Naruto through a crack in the wall. Then, Tazuna remembered all the weird fuinjutsu that Naruto pulled off and his face went frozen as he finally came to terms with the realization. He is a member of the Uzumaki clan. Tsunami rolled her eyes again as her father finally pieced it all together. I can't believe you didn't figure it out when he told his name, Tsunami said as she looked at Naruto. What should we do? Tazuna thought about it for a moment. Well, we could show him that old building that nobody can get into, Tazuna suggested, to which Tsunami nodded. Holding the thick book in one hand, Tazuna walked back into the room where everybody else were seated. He walked over to Naruto, who was attacking his food with ferocity, and catching the moment Naruto leaned back from his food to take some breath, he dropped the heavy book on Naruto's lap. "What the hell was that for?" Naruto screamed out after recovering from the initial shock of having a book dropped on him. "We need to take a walk," Tazuna said with sudden seriousness, catching everyone else's attention. "And why, may I ask?" Kakashi asked with a suspicious voice. "Because if my suspicion is correct, then we are looking at the sole survivor of one of the strongest clan here," Tazuna said as he grabbed Naruto by his wrist and gently led him towards the door. Naruto's team, Tsunami, and Inari followed them out as well. Outside, everyone was staring as the group walked over to the oldest building that stood in the middle of town. For years, nobody could enter the place. Many have tried and all have failed. The building looked brand new compared to the other buildings. The only thing wrong with it was a few boards missing from certain places and the color began to fade. "What's going on, Tazuna?" an old man asked from his chair. "I don't know. But something tells me we have the person we've been looking for these past years," Tazuna stated. Everyone encircled Naruto, watching him with curiosity. Naruto found himself staring at the old building and almost felt relaxed despite the fact that half the village was staring at him. "Go ahead, try and open the door." Naruto somehow had a feeling that he shouldn't open the door, but at the same time, he felt himself being pulled ever so slowly towards the door until he was standing in front of it. Naruto turned around and saw everyone holding their breaths as they looked at him. Naruto swallowed and reached for the door handle. As soon as Naruto's hand touched the doorknob, black lines raced up his body and Naruto gritted his teeth in pain. Kakashi tried to get to Naruto as Naruto was forced to his knees due to the pain, but found that he could barely move with all the villagers around him. Then as quickly as it started, it was over. The lines receded and there was a loud click that made everyone's heart stop for a moment. A sudden silence hung over the crowd and Naruto could have sworn he could have heard needle falling on the ground. Naruto stood up and gave the door a slight push. The door swung open with ease and that was enough for the villagers. "The Uzumaki clan lives again," a random villager said, and that was when cheering erupted, but Naruto ignored it as he caught a glimpse of what was inside the building. The entire area was covered in dust and grime, but that wasn't what caught Naruto's eyes. It was the spirals that were all over the place. Naruto stepped into the house and the villagers waited outside for Naruto to come out. Looking around the house, Naruto noticed it looked as though it was ransacked years ago. Things were scattered everywhere and occasionally, Naruto found a slashed piece of cloth or a cracked mirror with rusty red stains. Naruto collapsed on the ground and began to beat the floor with his fists. "Every time I get so close to knowing who I am, it's taken away," Naruto thought as tears trailed down his whiskered cheek. He gave the floor one last hit and suddenly the floor opened up, revealing a staircase. Naruto looked down the dark tunnel and decided to take a look. He walked down the stairs and found it to be an underground shrine. On the walls were pictures covered in dust. Naruto brushed the dirt off and found himself staring at a grumpy-looking man wearing samurai armor and two swords with curved hilts staring at him. He had long hair and had a square goatee. Naruto looked at the name tag and saw the name. It read, Erasure Uzumaki Shodai Gufukage, First Hurricane Shadow. Naruto looked down and saw only one more picture unfinished, but from what he could see was a man with hair and a red beard with a heartwarming smile. Naruto looked further down the tunnel and walked down. He ended up in a wide room filled with what appeared to be empty except for two things: a carefully folded note and a scroll. Naruto reached down and carefully grabbed the two objects. They also shot black lines at Naruto just like the doorknob did. Naruto gritted his teeth and waited patiently for the lines receded once again. After the black lines receded, Naruto carefully observed the note and found it to be blood-stained. Naruto carefully unfolded the note and started to read it. Greetings Uzumaki, my name is Yuzushio, Whirling Tides, Uzumaki Naidame, second, Gufukage of Yuzushogakure, village hidden among the whirling tides. In the Yuzu no Kuni, land of whirlpools. I do not have long left, but here it goes, you may be the final Uzumaki. Listen, I know you are most likely scared, but listen. Everything that once belonged to the Uzumaki is left to you, and I want you to know that this is the birthplace of the Uzumaki clan. In the scroll, release the storage seal and you will find a book on our fuinjutsu. We used to have many books on our fuinjutsu, but unfortunately, before I could get to it, some of it was burned. I only managed to save just enough to give you one of our fuinjutsu, so use it wisely. Please take care and never let your guard down even for a second. The enemy of the Uzumaki are many. I'm losing too much blood, I won't be able to keep writing. I just want you to know that your family will always be with you no matter where you are. I've got to go. They are looking for me, but just remember, you are always being watched. Naruto looked at the note one last time before he gently folded it up and placed it in his pocket. He then reached down and picked up the book and scroll as though they were treasure, which they were and are. Naruto exited the room, but not before he gave it one last look before he left. Naruto squinted his eyes against the bright sunlight as he walked out of the old house. As soon as his foot stepped outside, he was surrounded by various villagers who kept trying to have a feel of Naruto and shake his hand. Naruto looked around and found his team standing with Tazuna and his daughter. Naruto approached them while trying his best to avoid the villagers and smiled. "So how do you feel?" Tazuna asked with a returning smile. "I feel at home," Naruto said, and with those little words Naruto was lifted into the air as the people began to cheer for the Uzumaki clan. After a while, Naruto managed to get away from the villagers by saying he needed time to adjust to the situation. Naruto looked at the sky and started walking, not paying any attention to where he was going until he tripped over someone. As he got up and looked at who he tripped over, Naruto found himself staring at a beautiful girl. "I'm sorry, I should have watched where I was going," Naruto said. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki." The girl's eyes widened as she looked at Naruto and a look of surprise flitted across her eyes, but they were gone as fast as it came. "My name is Haku," Haku said, chuckling as he knew what Naruto thought he was. "And I'm a guy." This shocked Naruto beyond everything. "So what are you doing out here?" as he chuckled at Naruto's antics. "Trying to think," Naruto said as he got over his shock. "I just figured out my clan was from somewhere close by." Haku feigned shock. "Really? What clan is that?" Haku said. "I'm afraid I can't say." Naruto leaned back and laid on the soft grass. "Let me guess." Haku looked at Naruto. "You are from the Uzumaki clan." Naruto bolted straight to his feet and looked at Haku with a little bit of a glare, remembering what Uzushio said in his note. "Don't trust anyone. Uzumakis have many enemies." "Don't worry, I have no qualms with the Uzumaki clan," Haku told him. Naruto cautiously lowered himself back to the ground and looked at Haku, suspicion still visible on his obvious wariness. Haku decided to try and get to know Naruto better. "Tell me, what do you want to be when you're older, and do you have anything you want to protect?" Haku asked, and he watched as Naruto thought hard to narrow down his answer. After a couple minutes, Naruto finally spoke up. "Well, I want to be Hokage," Naruto said with a smile. "And I've got several things I want to protect, but the main thing I want to protect is my friends." "What about you?" Naruto asked. Haku watched as he saw the determination in Naruto's eyes. He decided Naruto would probably do anything to help his friends. Haku stared into the trees as he thought over his answer. "Well, I have one person I want to protect, and my dream is to help him make his dream come true," Haku said with a gentle smile, and Naruto nodded his head at Haku's answer. "What are you doing out here?" Naruto asked with a smile. "I'm picking herbs to help my precious person get better," Haku said as he resumed looking around for the herbs he needed. "Maybe I can help," Naruto offered as Haku busied himself. Haku turned to him, thought about it, then nodded his head. Haku held out the herb he was looking for, and Naruto created 3 clones to go looking for the herbs. Within few minutes, Haku's basket was filled to the brim. "Thank you, Naruto," Haku told Naruto with a polite bow and turned around and left the area. Naruto turned around and began to walk back to the village. As he walked into the village, he couldn't help smiling. Naruto looked around at the sight around at all the people smiling at him. The people here barely had anything, and yet they were happy to try and give Naruto what little bit they had. Naruto politely refused, having noticed that they needed it more. Sakura and Kakashi were truly happy that Naruto had found his clan's old home. Sasuke, on the other hand, kept up his emotionless face, but every now and then his eyes would harden when he heard someone praising Naruto. Sasuke just didn't understand why Naruto was so popular when he didn't do a thing. Ever since the villagers found out that Naruto is actually the sole survivor of once powerful clan, people constantly swarmed around him. Naruto was always seen wearing a smile since he came back from his old house, and he seemed to radiate happiness as the villagers, both young and old, surrounded him, eager to talk to the lone survivor of legendary clan. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura didn't have anything to do, so Kakashi had decided at that moment to give everyone training on chakra control. Instantly, Naruto's happy smile turned into a slight frown. "Why do we need this?" Naruto asked in a bored tone. "Because it will help you control your chakra and help you not die just from overusing it." The response made Naruto look at the ground with a resentful pout. Ever since the chakra depletion incident, Kakashi had been watching him like a hawk. Whenever Naruto went to make a new seal and try it out, Kakashi was right there watching. Once Naruto got annoyed, so he asked Kakashi why he was watching him, and the answer he got was simple. "I don't want you to get hurt," came the monotone response. "Now, what I want you guys to do is to climb a tree." Everyone looked at Kakashi as though they thought he was out of his mind or something. Naruto and Sasuke snorted at the obvious easiness of the task. "But without using your hands." This wiped the smirk off both their faces. "What? That's not possible," Naruto complained loudly. With a sigh, Kakashi began to channel chakra into his feet. Kakashi walked towards a nearby tree, and when his face was only a foot away from the bark, he put one foot on the tree and proceeded to walk up the bark. "What were you saying, Naruto?" Kakashi raised his eyebrow at Naruto. "Now what you need to do is put chakra onto the soles of your feet and begin to walk up the tree. You must keep your chakra leveled, for if you put too much, you'll break through the tree and fall, too little and you won't grip to the tree and fall. Also, if you feel as though you are about to fall while walking up the tree, mark where you were with a kunai." Kakashi watched as the group looked at each other and back at the tree. The three put chakra into their feet and ran at the tree. As expected, Naruto was the first to fall after putting too little chakra into his feet, but then Sasuke fell when he put too much chakra and began to crack the bark. "This is easy," a voice came from the tree. They looked up and saw Sakura sitting high on a branch with a smile. "Well, it appears that the only girl in this entire team has the best chakra control," Kakashi stated with a smile. He looked and saw determination in both Naruto and Sasuke's eyes. Naruto and Sasuke ran toward the tree again, and they did get a little farther up this time, but still not enough. Sasuke fell when he accidentally let his chakra slip, and Kakashi wasn't surprised. But the way Naruto fell made Kakashi feel a bit queasy. As soon as Naruto took his next step, the entire tree snapped in half without warning. Naruto fell and banged his head on the ground. As Naruto looked up after shaking his head, he saw the top half of the tree was falling towards him. Naruto reached up for his neck bandages, but before his fingers could touch the end of them, the tree tackled out of the way by a very large bulldog. Naruto laid his head on the ground and sighed in relief as Kakashi walked over. "How about you try not to break the tree in half?" Kakashi chuckled humorously as he helped his student up. Naruto just mumbled and went to another tree. Kakashi watched as Naruto continued the tree exercise once again, and despite the fact that he kept on falling, he was slowly improving. Kakashi decided to go lean on a tree and read his book as he watched his students train. Sakura finally stopped for rest after 3 climbs. Sasuke and Naruto were still repeating the cycle of attempting to climb and falling. Sakura looked at Sasuke and opened her mouth to say something, but stopped when she noticed the look he gave her. It wasn't a cold look, but it clearly told her that he didn't need nor want her help. Naruto was lying on the ground looking up at the tree and noticed a pattern forming. "I take 3 steps forward, then 2 steps back," Naruto thought as he bit his lip thinking about what he hasn't tried yet. He then remembered how Sakura got up the tree so easily. Naruto got up and looked around for a certain pink-haired kunoichi. Sakura was looking at the ground without anything to do when a shadow blocked the sun. Naruto was standing above her with a nervous smile. "Hey Sakura, could you help me?" Sakura opened her mouth to tell Naruto no, but then she realized he actually asked her for help. He wants my help. Sakura thought. Okay, sure Naruto. I'll give you some help. Kakashi saw this and smiled underneath his mask. It would appear that he is finally getting it, Kakashi thought as he turned back to his book. Naruto smiled as Sakura finally explained what he was doing wrong and how he could fix it. He approached the tree and ran up it once, this time applying what Sakura taught him. He found himself climbing almost as high as Sasuke before he slipped and started to fall. But Naruto gave a quick twist of his body and he gracefully landed on the ground. Dinner is ready. Tsunami's voice echoed through the forest. That got everyone's attention as they started to walk towards the house. Everyone sat at the table and watched in amused expression as the Uzumaki devoured his meal as though he hadn't eaten in days. Sakura finally had enough and punched Naruto on his head. "What was that for?" came the response. "You're acting like an animal," she said with a face. "Slow down, will you?" "Sorry, I can't. I have to hurry and finish that tree climbing exercise." Naruto said this as he threw his head into the bowl, and the group around the table thought they could see the food trying to escape Naruto's wrath. Sakura just shook her head in amusement and Kakashi smiled under his mask. Then, a voice spoke up. "Look at yourself," Inari said with a little bit of anger in his voice. Naruto looked up from his food. He wiped the food stains from his mouth with a napkin and his goofy expression suddenly subsided. Inari continued as though he hasn't noticed anything. "You call yourself ninja, but you are nothing but a joke. You can't defeat a man like Gato. He's just going to hire stronger people to take care of you, even if you're from a clan you can't win. So why don't dash dot?" That was when Naruto had enough. His expression hardened and his crystalline eyes had steely glint. "Look at yourself crying like a baby." Naruto's voice was devoid of any of emotions. "You think you have it rough. I had to live my life in fear, looking behind me every few seconds thinking someone was going to attack me. I won't sugarcoat it. You had it pretty bad. But you had a family to help you through the tough times. Me? I had no one but myself. Then when I finally met someone and found out that he cared about me, he was killed in front of my very eyes. So don't come crying to me about how bad you had it, because I live my life in hell every day. If you have a problem with your life, then do something about it. Don't just sit there and cry." With that, Naruto got up from the table and walked toward the door, leaving crying Inari behind. "Naruto, you went too far," Sakura said, standing up. Sakura opened her mouth to say more, but she stopped when Naruto turned around. Naruto's eyes seemed to have lost their usual light. Without responding, he just walked out the door and closed it, leaving the room in an uncomfortable silence. Inari got up and left for the porch and with Kakashi following him. You know what Naruto said in there was his way of his motivational speech. Kakashi told the crying Inari as he sat down. "Why?" Inari asked with a slight whimper. "Why does he try so much?" At this, he received a sigh from the Jonin. "It's just who he is," Kakashi told him. "In our village he is treated so badly he was stuck at a crossroads. Either continue to let people do this or try and do something about it. He made his choice and he never looked back. I think in all my time I've been with him and seen him, I've only seen him cry once, and that was when a very good friend of his died. But if anything, that only made him stronger than ever. So please don't make Naruto be the bad guy. Whatever he said in there, it was in the hopes of making you better." Kakashi finished. Inari stopped crying and looked at Kakashi with a small smile. Kakashi, at that moment, got up and watched at Inari's retreating figure as Inari walked toward his home. Naruto was in the forest drawing on a bunch of tags to replace the old ones when a noise behind him caught his attention. When he looked, he saw Inari looking at him with a look of embarrassment. "Look, I'm sorry for what I said," came the shy voice. "You don't need to apologize," Naruto stated in a leveled voice. "Let's just move on." Inari nodded and looked over Naruto's shoulder to see what he was up to. "What are you doing?" Inari asked, confused at what Naruto was doing. "I'm trying to figure out how to extend the use of a certain barrier seal I have," Naruto stated before putting everything away into a scroll. "Come on. Let's go and get something to eat." Inari just smiled and started walking back home with Naruto beside him. Naruto was sitting looking at the tree and saw that he was almost at the top. When he woke up, He found that his team left him to take care of Tezuna's home in case someone tried anything to hurt them. Naruto decided to spend his time on the tree exercise and kept a Kage Bunshin at the house in case something went wrong. Naruto sat up when the clone's memories suddenly flooded into his. Damn! Naruto cursed as he ran for the house. Look, this is nothing personal, but Gato doesn't want the bridge finished, Waraji said as he held his sword to Inari's throat. Now, why don't you just come along and cooperate with us, little girl? Tsunami looked between the two swordsmen nervously, and she nodded her head. Zori walked forward to secure her, but was forced to dodge when a giant shuriken came sailing at him. He looked and saw a black silhouette against the blinding sun. Who the fuck are you? Zori yelled out. Me? I'm nobody, the voice said in a lifeless tone. Zora's eyes widened when he was zapped in the chest with a static bolt. Waraji swung his sword in attempt to kill Inari, but his blade never connected. A small blue shield appeared in front of Inari, and the sword harmlessly bounced off the shield. Did you really think I was going to leave these two undefended? Before I left, I put 2 of my barrier seals on them, a deadened voice quietly told them. Waraji turned around just in time to receive a roundhouse kick hitting him directly in the face. Tsunami smiled as she looked at Naruto, but her smile was gone when she noticed that the goofy expression usually found on Naruto's face was gone and seriousness instead took its place. Naruto put his hands together and created 2 Kage Bunshins. Get the swordsmen out of here and tie them down. The clones nodded and followed his instructions. When the 4 were out of Naruto's sight, Naruto broke his hard expression with a smile and looked at both Inari and Tsunami. Are you both all right? Inari and Tsunami nodded in response. Good. Listen, I'm gonna go to the bridge. I think the others are going to need some help. I'm leaving 4 clones here for your protection. Okay? Naruto created 2 more clones and ran towards the bridge. On the bridge, work was busily progressing until a thick mist began to roll in. The workers realized something wasn't quite right and ran for some kind of cover. This isn't normal mist, Kakashi told the Sakura and Sasuke. He gave the 2 the instruction to circle Tezuna and provide him protection. That was when 2 figures emerged from the heavy mist. We meet again, Kakashi, Zabuza said as he looked at the group in front of him. But where is the blonde runt? Zabuza asked in a taunting voice. Kakashi didn't answer and only lifted up his headband, revealing his Sharingan. Fine, I guess I'll just have to settle for you then. Zabuza pulled off his giant sword and plunged the blade into the bridge. Haku, take care of the others. Haku gave a short nod. Zabuza then noticed that Sasuke was shaking ever so slightly. Look at him, he's scared out of his pants. No, I'm just excited. I've been bored all day. Sasuke sneered as he charged Haku, who charged right back. They both threw a punch that connected with each other. Sasuke smiled, but frowned when Haku gripped his arm. Haku then began to perform a series of one-handed seals which made Kakashi worried. Sorry for this, but Zabuza-sama wishes you gone, Haku calmly stated as he stomped on the ground sending water into the air. Suetun. Sensatsu Susho. Water release. 1,000 flying water needles of death. The water around soon transformed into senbons and started to fly towards Sasuke. An explosion of water followed as Haku jumped out of his own jutsu's range. Haku watched the water as it slowly fell back to the ground, but before he could react, Sasuke delivered a kick to the side of his face. He's fast, Zabuza thought as he watched Sasuke in the corner of his eyes while fighting Kakashi. He swung his sword down to try and cleave Sasuke in half, but his blade was stopped when Kakashi used his kunai to block. I thought you were going to go after me, Kakashi coolly told Zabuza, receiving a rock-hard glare. Fine. If you want to die quite so badly, I'll more than happy to send you to hell, Zabuza stated as he pushed on his blade forcing Kakashi backwards. Sasuke watched as Haku got up and saw Haku coldly staring at him through his mask. You're pretty fast, Uchiha, Haku stated, making Sasuke smile a little wider. So you know of the Uchiha clan? Sasuke asked in more of a statement than a question. Yes, Zabuza-sama told me to study on different clan symbols and what they look like, Haku calmly told him. The Uchiha clan always has that red paper fan on the back of their shirt, and they always have black eyes with black hair. Haku brought his hands up into a tiger seal. But even your power cannot stop mine. Hayatan, Makio Hyosho, Ice Release, Demonic Ice Crystal Mirrors. The area was then transformed into a dome containing 21 mirrors. Sasuke watched as Haku stepped backwards and sank into one of the mirrors, and his image appeared on every mirror. This is my ultimate technique, you cannot escape. A voice called out from all directions, echoing all over the place. Sasuke began to form hand signs and blew out a giant fireball that hit one of the mirrors square on. But when the steam stopped coming from the mirror, Sasuke noticed that the mirror didn't even melt it a little bit. Was that your best shot? The hundreds of images of Haku asked as they all pulled out a bunch of senbon. Now let me show you mine. The entire dome erupted into light that blinded Sasuke, and a barrage of senbon came out of nowhere, turned him into a pincushion. Sasuke fell to one knee as the light faded. I can't see him, Sasuke muttered to himself. He looked up and saw all the images of Haku prepare for another assault. Are you ready to surrender? Haku asked in an omnipresent tone, making Sasuke even angrier. I'm an Uchiha. I refuse to give up quite so easily. Sasuke snarled as he ripped out a bunch of senbon from his body. Haku just shook his head, not liking where this would eventually lead to. Please forgive me, Uchiha. Haku ready for another assault when a kunai flew into the mirror he was in. The kunai surprisingly stuck in the mirror, and Haku saw the explosive tag tied to it. When the tag exploded, Haku and Sasuke noticed that the tag seemed to have a lot more force behind it than other regular tags. And please forgive me for interrupting your little fight. A sneering voice came, and Haku saw the hardened expression of Naruto, who was now standing next to Sasuke. Dobe, what are you doing here? You should be watching the house, Sasuke told Naruto in an annoyed voice. Well, I believe I'm going to help you keep this guy from killing you, Naruto stated. And besides, I left them with more than enough to protect them. Zabuza wondered what was taking Haku so long and decided at that moment to look at how Haku was faring. His eyes widened in unmasked joy as he spotted Naruto. Well, Zabuza said, deflecting Kakashi's kunai. I think I just found my next prey. Kakashi was confused at the sudden diversion of Zabuza's attention. He followed Zabuza's gaze, and his expression went into those of a shock as he realized what Zabuza was hinting at. What is he doing here? Kakashi thought with shock. Maybe now I can have that rematch. Zabuza tauntingly shouted loud enough for Naruto to hear, but Naruto kept looking at Haku. Oh, this day just keeps getting better and better. Don't you agree, Kakashi? Kakashi glared at smirking Zabuza and attacked. Why did you jump in? Haku asked from the mirror next to Naruto. Because, even if he acts like an asshole, this received a deadly glare from Sasuke. He is still my teammate and friend. I will not allow you to hurt him, Haku. Haku's eyes widened fractionally as shock flitted across his eyes. Haku was surprised that Naruto knew it was him and wondered what else did Naruto know. How did you know it was me? Haku asked. Because both your voice and hair color are exactly the same, Naruto said with a smile as he dropped into a taijutsu stance. His legs were spread apart, one behind him and the other in front. His arms were held in front of him with his hands semi-opened and closed. Now where were we? Oh yeah, yes, fighting. Naruto's voice was cold and devoid of all emotions. Sasuke was shocked at the sudden change in Naruto and just stared at the sadistic face of Naruto. Haku brought up his senbons, and Sasuke forced his eyes away from Naruto. Sasuke put his hands together in a tiger seal, as Haku prepared to throw his senbons, and Naruto's smile widened even more. Kakashi was forced to duck Zabuza's sword, which tried to remove his head. Zabuza used his sword's momentum to spin him around and delivered a hard kick to Kakashi's chest, sending Kakashi flying backwards. Your skill is dropping, Kakashi, Zabuza said. Is it because you are worried about your little students? Don't worry, for when I'm done with you, I'll be sure to send them your way as well. That way, you won't have to worry about them getting lost in hell. Zabuza sneered sadistically. Kakashi stood up, ignoring the pain in his chest, and ran at Zabuza. Zabuza finished making a series of hand signs and Kakashi had no choice but to watch as the mist consumed Zabuza's final tiger seal disappearing last. I have to win, Kakashi thought determinedly as he thought of the students. Naruto was thrown to ground after another failed attempt at destroying another one of Haku's mirror. He managed to get to one, and after placing about 2 of his special explosive tags on the stupid thing, he finally managed to get it down. However, no sooner was it destroyed, Haku made another one to replace it. Damn it! Naruto cursed in his mind. This is getting us nowhere. The seals I have with me are useless against this crap. My Tenran can't penetrate it and my Byakurai is just bouncing off. The only thing I have that does any real damage is my explosive tags and using my Kagebunshin to distract him. He looked at Sasuke and noticed that he was starting to breathing hard as well. We can't keep going like this. We'll either run out of chakra or he'll take us out, Naruto thought. So what's the plan, Dobe? Sasuke asked as he stood up, breaking Naruto's train of thoughts. Okay, so you are asking the kid you call Dope for a plan? Naruto said in a sarcastic voice. That's not very smart of you, don't you think? Well, why don't you use some hidden fuinjutsu of yours? Sasuke's voice darkened a shade with irritation. The fuinjutsu I have with me at the moment are completely useless. Also, I'm almost out of explosive seals. Naruto told him nonchalantly in a voice that implied Sasuke should have known, and Sasuke glared at him. Sasuke began to fume at the fact that the one thing that was giving them any sort of hope was about gone when Naruto spoke again. But have you noticed? Noticed what? The time of his rebuilding his mirrors is dropping, Naruto stated in a calm voice as he pointed toward one of the mirrors he had just destroyed. Your point is, Sasuke said, obviously confused about how this could help them. Well, if I'm right, then it means his chakra level must be getting lower and lower, Naruto said. So all we have to do is to survive until his chakra is completely depleted. Sasuke looked at the mirror and then back at Naruto. A wide grin began to appear on Sasuke's face, and his expression was those of a person who was about to have a great deal of fun. All right, what do you need? Sasuke asked. First, I need to force him to spend a lot more chakra. Naruto placed his fingers together into his cross seal. When 4 Kagebunshins appeared, Naruto handed them the last 4 explosive tags he had left. What I need is for you to help me defend them, Naruto instructed Sasuke. Sasuke nodded his head, bringing up a kunai. Haku watched as Naruto and Sasuke quickly exchanged their plan, and he frowned after hearing what they were about to do. So they figured out the weakness to my jutsu, Haku thought. It still won't help them. I still have plenty of chakra left and I have some more surprises waiting for them. Haku watched as the 4 clones scattered towards different sides of the area trying to get close enough to plant the tags. Haku zoomed out of the mirror towards one of the clones when he was forced to dodge when a fireball missed him by inches. Haku threw 4 senbons all aimed at the clones. However, much to Haku's surprise, the clones activated the barrier seal on their necks to defend as the senbons came within a couple of inches. As they consumed all of their chakra with the seal, the clones slowed down and disappeared, but they placed the seal before they vanished. All right, it's show time, Naruto yelled out, sadistic grin wide on his face. Naruto put his hands together in the tiger seal and detonated the seals. The explosion rocked the ground and everyone including Kakashi and Sakura looked in the direction trying to figure out what just happened. Much to their worries, all they saw was a giant fireball where the ice dome used to be. Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi called out, worried about the safety of his students. He saw 3 silhouettes jump out of the fire and saw that 2 of them were Sasuke and Naruto. Both of their cloths were burned, but other than that they were fine. Haku was unscathed other than his slightly cracked mask. Fuck, Naruto cursed. He cancelled his jutsu before I could detonate the bombs. Naruto fumed as he glared daggers at Haku, who was standing calmly with his cracked mask. Sasuke just grunted and fell into a stance. Naruto stood not far off him and fell into his stance as well. They both glared at Haku and their eyes had an identical steely glint to it. Why do you continue to fight when you know that you can't win? Haku said in a mildly surprised voice. Why? Because if we give up, A lot of people are going to suffer and die. Naruto said in a voice devoid of all emotions. We don't have the luxury to give up. As he created 4 Kage Bunshins, Naruto charged at Haku. Haku lifted his hands and slapped them together. Hyuton, Hyoga Siren, Ice Release, Glacier Vapor Storm. The water around Haku made a circle right behind him, but instead of looking like water it looked something like frost, but blue. The frosty wave roared forward, and before anyone could react, all of Naruto's clones were consumed. When the wave died, everyone saw that Naruto and his clones were frozen inside a giant block of ice. That is the dash dot. Haku let a small smile on his mouth as he spoke, but before he could finish, he was sent skyward by a kick to his face by Naruto. How? Haku asked himself as he looked at the giant block. He saw that the clones and Naruto were all gone. So what I froze were only his clones. He sends clones into the battle first to test his opponent out. Haku concluded. Haku then noticed something shadowing the sun and looked up to see Sasuke right above him. Sasuke had his fingers in a tiger seal and smirked at him. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. Sasuke yelled out as he blew out a giant fireball that consumed Haku. But instead of screams, all that Sasuke and Naruto saw was steam. Sasuke stopped breathing fire and saw that the Haku he was shooting his fire at was nothing but ice. How did you like Isu Bunshin, Ice Clone? A soft voice asked from behind. Sasuke turned around with wide eyes, but was punched hard in the face by Haku. Naruto caught Sasuke before he could hit the bridge and get hurt even more. Please just stand down. I don't want to kill you, Haku told them in soft, respectful tone. The tone infuriated Sasuke and Naruto. Sasuke pushed himself off of Naruto and stood up to charge at Haku once again. Haku simply stared as Sasuke charged, then tossed 10 senbon at Naruto. Naruto saw the speed the senbons were coming and knew he wouldn't be able to dodge all of them. Shit, Sasuke thought as he changed his direction. Naruto brought his hands up to protect any vital areas, but he never received the attack. When he looked up, he saw Sasuke in front of him with the senbons protruding out of his back. Why? I don't know. My body just moved, Sasuke told Naruto as he fell backwards and Naruto caught him. I can't, not here. I still need to kill him. Sasuke closed his eyes as he breathed out the words with difficulty. As Naruto watched Sasuke slowly dying, his memory of Iruka's death flashed through his mind. Iruka's face replacing Sasuke's. Not again. Naruto screamed in his mind as he laid Sasuke's body down. I'm going to crush you. Naruto screamed as he turned to Haku, and Haku saw that Naruto's clear blue eyes had turned into blood-red silted eyes. Haku suddenly felt a massive surge of demonic energy cascading through Naruto. What is this? Haku thought as Naruto charged at him in a burst of speed. Zabuza took a swing and missed Kakashi by mere centimeters, but then he felt the massive chakra surge. What in hell is that? Zabuza asked, astonished at the sheer raw power that was radiating off. Fuck, did the seal break? Kakashi thought as he frowned, and after a moment of observing the red chakra, he breathed a sigh of relief. No, but some of the Kyuubi's chakra spilled out. I would repress the chakra now, but I've got to finish this fight now. Kakashi took out a scroll and turned to Zabuza. Zabuza, how about we end this little fight of ours? I mean, we are both busy men. Kakashi calmly told him. Tough talk coming from someone who can't see. Zabuza's voice sneered from the mist. Oh, but I don't have to find you. Kakashi sliced his hand and smeared some blood onto the scroll. Kakashi slammed it onto the ground. They do. Suddenly the ground broke and there was a muffled yelp of pain. The mist started to disappear, revealing Zabuza, who was pinned down by multiple dogs. Now we end this. Zabuza watched as Kakashi's right hand erupted into lightning. Why did you do it? Naruto screamed out as he punched Haku in the face. Haku tripped and fell down, but just picked himself right back up. I did it because of my goal, Haku said with a slight smile. My goal is to make Zabuza-sama's dream come true. You see, he saved me from death long time ago. Haku then proceeded to tell Naruto about Kirigakure's Kekkei Genkai purges and what happened to his family and everything Zabuza did for him. When the story was over, Naruto felt sorry for Haku. "Kill me," Haku asked Naruto. This request shocked Naruto. Naruto simply stared at Haku with his jaw hanging, confusion in his now cerulean blue eyes. "I'm a broken tool. I will only slow Zabuza's goal down. You will be doing me a favor. Please kill me." Naruto just looked at Haku and took one step forward, but before he could reach him, both Naruto and Haku felt the surge of electric chakra. "Zabuza-sama!" Haku yelled out as he disappeared in a burst of smoke. "Shit!" Naruto cursed as he turned and ran towards the direction Haku disappeared into, but found that he was dizzy and disorientated. "I won't make it." "Goodbye, Zabuza." Kakashi smirked as he threw his arm forward. Zabuza closed his eyes, knowing that there was no way out, but the attack never connected with him. Zabuza opened his eyes to see Haku right in front of him and saw that Kakashi's hand wasn't piercing through neither Haku's or Zabuza's chest. It instead went through the purple barrier which shattered upon impact. The only thing that saved Haku from the electric chakra was that Kakashi's electric chakra, Chidori, suddenly fizzed out. Kakashi looked at his arm in surprise at the sudden stop of his chakra and saw a chakra suppression seal on it. "Shit! It's blocking my chakra flow," Kakashi cursed in his mind. Zabuza smiled as he realized he could kill Kakashi, but a giant shuriken sailed through the air and landed in front of him as he swung his sword. He saw that Naruto was on top of the shuriken that was separating Zabuza and Haku from Kakashi. Sakura saw Naruto and was about to speak up, but then she saw that Naruto was alone. She looked over where Naruto came from and saw Sasuke lying on the ground unconscious. She gasped and started to run towards motionless Sasuke with Tazuna right on her heels. "How could you treat Haku like that?" Naruto demanded for an answer, his expression hard. "You were preparing to chop right through him. Why? Why does it matter to you?" Zabuza sneered at him. "Because Haku told me how you rescued him. An evil person would never do something like that," Naruto told him, this time his voice a notch lower. Zabuza just huffed. "He is nothing but a tool to me," Zabuza said. Haku looked down at the ground with composed face, and the expressionless face infuriated Naruto. "He is not a tool. Damn you!" Naruto snarled at Zabuza. "He is a human being. No matter how hard you try to escape that little fact. He is Kirigakure no Kijin and so are you. If he was just a tool, then why did you take such good care of him?" This made Zabuza look away. Naruto started to speak once again. "He told me everything. He told me about how he was chasing after a rabbit and fell. He told me that you caught the rabbit for him and gave it to him. A demon would never do that. Zabuza, you care about him. But the question is, why do you hide it?" Zabuza opened his mouth to speak, but then he heard clapping not far away. "Gato!" Zabuza growled as he collapsed onto one knee. "What are you doing here?" "What? Didn't I tell you? I don't need you anymore." Gato said this with a sadistic smile. "Bring me that kid with the mask. I want to kill him with my own hands." This little comment made Zabuza tighten his grip on his sword, his knuckles turning white. Naruto entered a stance, but when Kakashi looked at him, he could see that Naruto was starting to breathe hard again. "I'm going to cleave you in half before you even lay a hand on him, Gato!" Zabuza yelled and charged at the mob of people. Haku charged after Zabuza. Naruto, seeing this, quickly summoned Kage Bunshins, but due to his low chakra level, he only managed to summon out two. His two clones went after Haku and stopped Haku. "You're low on chakra," Naruto gasped out as his breathing increasingly became labored. "If you go out there, you'll just get in Zabuza's way." Haku stood back and watched as Zabuza swung his giant sword, taking down 4 men at each slice. In the path of the menacing blade, the mob began to fall like rain. However, the numbers began to take advantage. Zabuza had spears and other weapons stuck to him, but he kept going. He dropped his sword after having his right shoulder pierced by a sword, but he grabbed a kunai with his kunai. When he got close enough, he struck, and Gato watched with fear in his eyes as Zabuza stabbed him in the heart. "The boy was right, Gato," Zabuza said. "I'm not a demon, but where we're going, There is plenty of demons there. As demons of all shapes and sizes, I think I'll fit in just fine. But you, Gato, you are in for a world of hurt. Zabuza let go of the kunai and watched as Gato fell backwards to the ocean. Zabuza looked up to the sky and then looked behind him to see the rest of the mob. They had weapons raised, ready to strike the final blow. I wish I could travel together with you one last time, Haku. Zabuza thought as he closed his eyes but opened them when he heard something swishing through the air. Zabuza saw Naruto's giant shuriken cut through the 4 men who attempted to take down Zabuza. The mob turned around and got one hell of a sight. There was over 20 Kakashi, 2 Naruto. A wave of ice started to form, and the entire village was there up and armed with various weapons ranging from scythes to rakes. If you guys are smart, then I suggest you run. Kakashi snarled, and before he barely finished, the mob began to jump off the bridge. Zabuza soon collapsed, landing on his side. Haku ran towards his mentor. When Haku reached Zabuza, Haku just looked at Zabuza's mutilated body in shock as Zabuza just laughed. I never thought it would feel like this, Zabuza said. Zabuza-sama. Tears started to roll down Haku's cheek and Zabuza scolded him. I thought I told you. Ninja, don't cry, Zabuza told Haku in a soft tone. We're trained not to feel anything. I'm sorry, Haku apologized, tears still streaming down his cheek. Zabuza just watched until he spoke with what little bit of strength he had left in his body. Live, Haku, Zabuza told him. I don't care how, but I don't want you anywhere near me. I have no use for a tool like you. I don't want you to cry over me, you pathetic weakling. Do you understand me? Haku watched as Zabuza closed his eyes and didn't open them again. Sakura was crying, not because Sasuke was dead. The reason she was crying was because Sasuke was alive. What happened? Sasuke croaked. Sakura squeezed Sasuke's semi-cold hand as hard she could. That Haku person put you into some kind of death-like state, Sakura said, still crying. As long as the needles were in you, you could not move and would appear dead. Sasuke just thought back to the last thing he remembered, and what he remembered scared him. He remembered seeing Naruto covered in some strange red aura that chilled him to the bone. Outside on a hill facing the sunshine was a small grave with some flowers on it and a giant sword sticking out of the head. Haku stood in front of the grave and cried. Naruto walked up and put a comforting hand on Haku's shoulder. You know, he didn't mean what he said, Naruto told Haku, causing Haku to look at him in surprise. He said what he said in order to push you forward and not stay in the past. I know what it's like to lose someone you thought as a father, Haku. Haku looked at him with confused eyes. Naruto preceded him to tell what happened to him. You see, my father figure was Irika-sensei, my sensei from long time ago, but when I was tricked into this plot against me, he died to protect me. After that day, I promised myself that I would train to perfect everything about me. I told myself that I would never let anyone have to suffer or get killed trying to protect me or any of my friends. So it doesn't help to dwell on the past, Haku. Move on and don't let Zabuza's death go in vain. Naruto turned to Haku and held his hand out. It was nice to meet you, Haku, and maybe we could meet again sometime in the future. Haku looked at the offered hand and shook it. The two never noticed Kakashi watching them only a bit away with a smile. After Gato's death, the villagers ransacked his tower and found some items that could help them rebuild their village. After 3 days of construction, the bridge was finally complete and Team 7 was saying their goodbyes when 3 people ran at them. One of them was Haku, the other was Tsunami, and then Inari. Naruto, wait! Inari screamed. Naruto turned and saw that the Tsunami had something in her hands. Are you really leaving? Inari and Tsunami asked. Inari burst into tears as Naruto nodded solemnly. I promised to come back, Naruto told Inari in a desperate attempt to calm Inari down. Besides, someone's got to keep an eye on Haku, Naruto said, and Haku just gave a sly smile. Tsunami then handed Naruto the box that she was holding. Then Naruto, please accept this as a token of our gratitude and a constant reminder of your old home here. Naruto received the box with a confused expression. He opened the box and found a beautiful cloak. The bottom had what appeared to be waves crashing against some invisible force. It was designed in blue and orange, and on the back it had a design that appeared to be wind at the top combining with the water, making a giant maelstrom. It had sleeves, but where the sleeve ended, the sleeve looked like it was tattered. The clock also sported a hood that was completely orange, but what touched Naruto the most was the message on the back. Naruto Uzumaki, the maelstrom of wave. Naruto smiled at Tsunami and she returned the smile. Naruto then, without warning, gave her a very tight hug. Thank you. This means a lot to me. Naruto turned to leave, but Haku stopped him. I found these in Gato's personal storeroom, Haku told him in his usual calm voice. Haku presented Naruto with some dusty arm and leg guards. Naruto just stared at them with a confused expression. He looked at Haku with questioning face. I think you might be surprised by who owned them. Haku smiled as he told Naruto. Naruto took the guards and brushed away the dust, finding the Uzumaki clan seal on the very top, and there was a name at the very bottom right below the symbol. Uzushio Uzumaki. Naruto was shocked. But I thought ... that they would have been destroyed. Haku said. I don't know how they fell in Gato's hands nor how they wounded up in Gato's tower. The last time I went up there, I didn't see those items. Naruto's grip tightened on the guards and gave Haku a smile of gratitude. Thanks, Haku. Haku simply smiled back at Naruto. Naruto happily smiled and his team waved goodbye to the villagers. Hey father, we still need to name the bridge, Tsunami said, which made Tazuna smile. You are right, and I think I have the perfect name, Tazuna said. The Great Naruto Bridge. That brought a round of cheers from everyone. Why did you let him go? Naruto asked Kakashi, curiosity evident on his face. Because Haku isn't registered in any bingo book that I know of, Kakashi said, still looking at his porn book. Besides, I saw that you two became friends. You would have fought to try and keep Haku safe, Kakashi explained as he rubbed the top of his head. That is what a true friend is, Naruto. Unknown location. Master, we have some bad news, a voice called out from the shadows. What is the problem? A giant man with a deep voice asked in an irritated voice. We've received word from our spy in Yuzu no Kuni. The first voice started to speak more, but he was then grabbed by his throat by the giant man. We destroyed Yuzu no Kuni. The man growled as he dropped his messenger. I apologize, the messenger said with a bow. Our spy in Nami no Kuni has reported something that probably would displease you greatly. Stop beating around the bush. Tell me. Another shade of anger added onto the man's voice. A young Uzumaki opened the vault to the Uzumaki scroll room. This got the reaction the messenger feared. His master punched the wall, causing it to shatter. When did this happen? He screamed in a burst of rage. Not long ago, maybe 2 days. The messenger informed his master, ready to run should his master's anger get out of control. Damn Uzumaki, you kill one and 2 more appear. He muttered to himself and turned to his messenger. We must do whatever we can to find and eliminate this one. The messenger nodded his head and vanished. I'll crush the Uzumakis once and for all, the man bellowed. The loud bellow echoed across the walls of the building, breaking the eerie silence that hung over them. Having decided to wear the garments Tsunami and Haku gave, Naruto proudly wore his Uzumaki clothing. Much to everyone's surprise, even more glares, and every once in a while some stares, were headed toward his direction. The increasing in glares and stares befuddled both Sakura and Sasuke. What the fuck is he kidding? Wearing such a flamboyant clothing of Uzumaki? Whispers and insults followed Naruto. Naruto just ignored them as best as he could, but as they walked through the Konoha, the insults just increased. It became so bad that it came to the point where Kakashi actually had to tell the team to just take to the rooftops and run to the tower. Kakashi looked back and saw that Naruto had his hood up, keeping his entire face hidden. Naruto, how are you holding up? Kakashi asked, concerned. I'm fine, Naruto said as he looked up and Kakashi saw his smile with its accompanying happy tone. How does he take it? Kakashi thought, frowning to himself. The team arrived at the tower and walked up to the Hokage's room. Looking up at the sound, Sarutobi saw Team 7 walk in. He immediately noticed the change in Naruto's outfit as Naruto lowered his hood. "Hey, Hokage-sama," Naruto said with a friendly wave. Sarutobi looked at the clothes Naruto had on. He was surprised at the hand and shin guards, but what shocked Sarutobi the most was the symbols that were on the guards. "This is bad," Sarutobi thought. After listening to Kakashi's mission report, he handed Kakashi a scroll and told him to go read it in private. "Naruto, I need to talk to you," Sarutobi told Naruto. Naruto was confused as though why the Hokage wished to speak to him but turned around anyways and waited for the Hokage to speak as the rest of his team exited the room. "Naruto, where did you get those items?" Sarutobi asked with a slight frown on his face. "Oh, the people from Nami no Kuni made the cloak for me," Naruto said, gesturing to the flowing fabric. "And the guards came from an old ancestor of mine by the name of Dashta. Yuzushio Uzumaki," Sarutobi finished. "Naruto, I don't think it's safe to wear those out in public." "Why? Also, how did you know who used to have these guards?" Naruto asked, obviously shocked at Sarutobi's knowledge. Sarutobi just rubbed the top of his head, unsure of what he should say. After a small debate in his head, he decided to tell Naruto some part of the truth. "Well, the Uzushiogakure and Konohagakure used to be in an alliance," Sarutobi said. "The Uzumaki clan and Senju clan were a tight-knit family." "How do you know this?" Naruto asked, a small crease of a frown forming on his face. Sarutobi just stood up and looked out the window. His eyes had a distant look in them as he recalled the old memories from well over 1.5 decades ago. "That's because I was the one who gave the order to erase all information of the Uzumaki clan and Uzushiogakure and seal it all away." Sarutobi turned around and looked at Naruto with a sad face, and Naruto just stared at the old Hokage with an obvious shock on his face. "Why?" Naruto asked, unable to think of any reasons that would have caused the Hokage to seal all the information on his clan. His mother's now endangered clan. "It was for the best." Sarutobi sat down as he quietly told Naruto. "If you were found out to be from the Uzumaki clan, you would have been hunted down. People feared your clan, Naruto, especially Uzushio, who was the clan head and Kage of the village. The man was known for making fuinjutsu more battle-potent to the degree that no one could get within 12 miles of him without being spotted. Because of this, other villages began to fear Uzushiogakure, and 2 of the villages decided to take action and destroyed them." Sarutobi stopped for a moment and took a breath before resuming. "If what I remember correctly, Uzushio was the first to be attacked in such a degree that he should have died on the spot, but even with his mortal wound, he got up and defended his village to his dying breath. You want to know how dangerous an Uzumaki is when angered? Look no further than Uzushio." Naruto's cerulean blue eyes widened a fraction as he took in all the new information. Right before he died, Uzushio placed a seal on his body known as Yura Shisho Fuinjutsu, reverse 4-symbol sealing technique, and in one instant, only 400 out of the 3,000 ninja that were still alive escaped being sealed into Uzushio's corpse. He was feared for his use of Yura Shisho Fuinjutsu, and that was only one of the many things he used it for. "Wow," Naruto quietly spoke. He created clones, and after sealing the enemy inside his clones by triggering his seal, he detonated them. He even sealed people who tried to smuggle their secrets into the forests that surrounded Uzushiogakure. However, despite this kind of definite battle goals, he had a good heart and even had a child. Sarutobi noticed Naruto's eyes widen and quickly corrected himself. "But it wasn't you, Naruto. His child was born years ago before you. If I remember correctly, I believe it was during the reign of the Naidame Hokage. So you kept this information secret to protect me," Naruto said. "Yes, Naruto. But it appears that all my measure didn't go as far as Nami no Kuni." Sarutobi looked down at his desk. "I was planning on telling you about your clan when you were older, but it seems as though you can't wait." Naruto looked down at his feet guiltily. "Wait." Sarutobi looked up as Naruto began to speak and saw Naruto looking rather uncomfortable. "Who were my parents?" Sarutobi bit his lip, for he knew that the more Naruto knew, the more danger he would be in. "I don't know, Naruto," Sarutobi lied. "But I can tell you this. Both of your parents loved you so much that they willingly gave their lives to keep you safe." This made Naruto smile. Now, Naruto, I need to ask. Do you want to keep wearing those items? Naruto looked thoughtful for a second or two and then smiled. I want to make my clan proud, so yes. Naruto said with his famous fox smile. I'll make sure Uzumashio's sacrifice is not forgotten. I'll make sure everyone remembers the name Uzumaki. This rather proud statement made Sarutobi nervous, but he smiled at Naruto all the same. Okay, it's your choice, Naruto. That was when Sarutobi remembered something. Oh, and be careful with those guards you are wearing. Uzumashio was also known for placing seals on armor, weapons, and clothes. Since those things once belonged to him, I'm quite sure he put some seals that I can only imagine. Naruto nodded his head and got up and left without a further word. After Naruto closed the door, Sarutobi frowned. Best be careful. I have feeling that things are about to get a whole lot harder, Naruto. Sarutobi softly spoke. In a large room, the only source of light came from candles that were stretched along the walls. Master, we have an update. A dark-cloaked man wearing what looked like a bird's mask spoke. An elderly man turned around as he leaned heavily on his cane. His body was covered in bandages, making him look like a weak old man, but that would be one mistake that one should not make around this man. Speak, Danzo said as he looked at his subordinate, and the man gave a deeper bow. It appears that the target is getting more and more grasp on his family. The man looked up at Danzo. He seems to be accelerating through his training. Danzo nodded his head and looked at the candle. We need to make sure he is secure. Danzo looked at the root member who kept his head low. We need be sure that he is kept under watch without anyone noticing. If we can save from them, then we gain a strong weapon once more. The ANBU root member nodded his head obediently and vanished. Uzumaki Naruto, you will be the perfect weapon, but I first must keep you in check. Perhaps the council should be alerted to the Uzumaki status. Danzo mused to himself. Danzo walked into the shadows, disappearing from view, the pad of his cane echoing on the rock floor of the deserted hallway. All right, I have a question for you, Kakashi said in a stern voice. The Chunin exams are being held here, and I need you to tell me if you guys wishes to participate. The team looked at each other for a moment before giving their sensei a nod. All right, you have the rest of the day to yourself. Enjoy. Kakashi disappeared and silence rolled in, just to be broken by Sakura a moment later. Hey Sasuke, do you want to go and hang out? Sakura asked, but Sasuke just walked away without giving an answer. Naruto looked at dejected Sakura and suddenly an idea popped into his head. Sakura. Sakura looked at Naruto with slight irritation in her face, for she was peeved that she was rejected by Sasuke once again. I'm planning on hanging out with Hinata's team. Want to join? Sakura thought about it and nodded her head. All right, let's go. Naruto walked with Sakura right behind him. Naruto found teammate and gave a wave and smile. The group smiled back, all except for one. Hinata blushed into a bright red and shyly looked at the ground. So, it seems you guys had fun on your mission, Kiba said with a smile. Man, I wish we could have gotten a mission like that. I would hardly call almost getting killed fun, Kiba, Shino said dully as he took a bite out of his winter melon. Oh, come on Shino, don't you want to be in a battle? It sounds super fun to me. Shino just shook his head as though he thought Kiba was being just childish, which he was actually thinking, and continued to eat in silence. Kiba just turned to his food and began to eat. So, how have you been, Hinata? Naruto said with an enthusiastic smile. Learn any new jutsu? Hinata at first looked at the ground and then back at Naruto. Yes, Hinata said. I've been de-developing my own jutsu. But it still needs some work. At that Naruto smiled even bigger and gave a thumbs up, causing Hinata's cheeks to turn into the deepest shade of red. Red even to the base of her neck. Great, Hinata. I can't wait to see it in action. Hinata just blushed even more, if that was even possible considering the amount she blushed already. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the small dirt way, causing Naruto and his friends to immediately snap their neck at the place where the scream had come from. Look, I'm sorry, alright? I didn't mean to bump into you, Konohamaru said as he was roughly lifted off the ground by his shirt by a kid wearing makeup. Yeah, you're sorry all right, but you're about to be even more dashed up. He never had time to finish for he felt someone place a kunai to his throat. I would seriously suggest you let him go. A cold voice suggested him, actually more like demanding or ordering. He looked and saw that a blond boy had the kunai to his throat and there were other people nearby, some of the posed to attack should it be necessary. Now, the blonde pressed. He dropped Konohamaru and Konohamaru ran to hide behind a rather irritated Sakura. Are you all right, Konohamaru? The blond boy asked, his eyes still trained on the kid wearing purple makeup. At this, the little boy nodded his head fervently. Judging from your headband, you're here for the Chunin exams, Naruto stated, his eyes narrowing ever so slightly. I told you not to stir up trouble, Kankuro. A cold voice came from behind Naruto. A blonde kunoichi that seemed to be with the makeup-wearing boy gasped and grasped an oversized fan she had with her. But Naruto wasn't worried about her. Naruto was busy looking into a tree that held a red-headed boy with black rings around his eyes. Tamari, Kankuro, what are you doing? The red-haired boy said coldly in a flat voice. Gaara, we were just dashed up. The makeup-wearing boy that was called Kankuro started to speak but trailed off as the red-haired boy started glaring at him. Kankuro, shut up before I kill you. The cold statement shut Kankuro up and made him look at the ground. And you get that kunai away from his throat. The red-haired boy that was called Gaara instructed Naruto with a glare. Naruto smiled, though the smile didn't quite reach his eyes, and released Kankuro in a not quite so gentle way, placing his kunai back to its place's pouch. Well, it seems we have an interesting cast of contestants for the Chunin exams. Gaara disappeared and then reappeared right beside Naruto in a swirl of sand as he spoke in an emotionless voice. Gaara stared quite bluntly at Naruto and Naruto, feeling rather defiant, returned the stare with the same intensity. The two then broke off the staring and separated without a word. Naruto, what was that about? Sasuke asked, seeing the final bits of Naruto's conversation with Gaara. Naruto looked back and saw Gaara give him one last look before leaving. I don't know, but I think he is someone we need to watch out for. Naruto frowned a bit as he thought about what just happened and how the two obviously older kids listened to the red-headed Gaara as though they were afraid of him. With that, the group left without another word to go and continue their day off. Okay, tell me, which teams are competing in the Chunin exam? Sarutobi said with his fingers interlocked, resting them lightly on his desk that was piled with paperwork. I recommend Team 8 for the Chunin exams, Kurenai said confidently. They work well together. The only problem they should encounter is Kiba's need to prove himself in fights. Sarutobi nodded his head and moved on to the others. I recommend Team 10 for the Chunin exams, Asuma announced. Their teamwork is almost as good as their parents. I recommend Team 9 for the Chunin exams, Guy said with vigor in his voice. Their flames of youth are finally bright enough to blind their opponents and led them to victory. Team 7 is ready for the Chunin exams. The other Jonins just stared at Kakashi as he spoke. Sasuke is an excellent combatant. Naruto is good at finding openings in his opponent and then exploiting them, and Sakura is the smartest of them all. So with those elements combined, they'll make it through the exam. Sarutobi nodded his head and then dismissed the Jonins. Now, the stage is set for the Chunin exams. Sarutobi said this as he looked out his window with a slight frown creasing his already wrinkled face. But for some reason, I can't shake the feeling that something bad is going to happen. One day later. What was with that genjutsu? Naruto asked, annoyed, as they approached the room they were supposed to enter. I believe it is a test to eliminate people early on, Sasuke said nonchalantly as he grabbed the door and opened it up. As the door opened, it revealed a room filled with ninja from various countries. Moreover, they were all looking at the newcomers, meaning the three with fierce glares. Wow, a lot of tough-looking people are here, Naruto thought bemusedly as his eyes glanced through the crowd and saw Hinata's team approaching them. Hey guys, Hinata, Kiba, Shino. The group smiled except for Shino, who was busy looking at a bug, and Hinata just blushed as she saw Naruto staring at her. Well toward her team but still toward her direction. Impressive looking bunch, right? Kiba just scoffed at the rather fierce, glaring ninjas that sported scars of all sorts. We can take them, right, Akamaru? Kiba confidently asked his fluffy white dog, Akamaru, and Akamaru gave a rather overly enthusiastic happy bark. Sasuke just looked around the room, scrutinizing each ninjas, until he was jumped on by Ino. There you are, Sasuke, Ino said, wrapping her legs around Sasuke's waist. I haven't seen you in so long. Get off him, Ino, Sakura screamed out, getting everyone's attention. Why don't you try and make me, Sakura? Ino stuck out her tongue and pulled down the skin around her eye in a mocking gesture, infuriating Sakura even more and causing Sakura to get all red in her face. You know, you should be a little quieter. People around here are a little wound up from the trip here. A sliver-haired man approached the group with a kind smile and a Konoha leaf headband. And the one thing they don't need is for a bunch of wet-behind-the-ears academy students yelling. The group of 9 rookies just simply glared at the approaching glass-wearing man, excepting Naruto and Hinata, who was busy talking about the Chunin exams. And just who are you? Sasuke's cold voice asked as his onyx scrutinized the appearance of the ninja. I'm Kabuto, and if I was you, I would take the advice of someone who's been here many times before. The silver-haired ninja spoke in a patronizing voice along with some kind of air that somewhat resembled arrogance. Sasuke's eyes flashed with anger at the belittling statement thrown at him by the ninja and gave the silver-haired ninja a glare as the ninja's glasses shined with the light reflecting off its lens. Oh, how many times have you been here? Sakura asked, curious at the part of his statement where he said he had been here many times before. This is my 4th year participating and 7th time. Oh, then you must know a lot of stuff that could help us. Wet behind the ears, Genin. Sasuke said this with a cold smile that never got to reach his eyes. Kabuto just looked at the Uchiha with an even bigger smile. All right, I'll take pity on you fledglings. He pulled out a stack of cards. Here are my shinobi skill cards. They're where I've placed all the information I've gathered over the past 4 years. They also cannot be revealed without my personal chakra. Kabuto set one card down and put a finger on top of it. The card spun about for a bit and then revealed information about the number of teams from each village participating. This made a cold smile play around Sasuke's mouth as he thought of all the things he could learn. Do these cards also hold information on individual combatants? Kabuto looked at Sasuke, the light glaring off his rather shiny glasses. Yes, they can, but my collection is far from complete. So, tell me all you've got on Rock Lee from this village and Gaara from Sunagakure, Sasuke declared, and Kabuto seemed to be pouting? You know their names and the villages they're from. Kabuto pulled out 2 cards. That makes it too easy. He laid one card down and it began to spin. All right, first we have Rock Lee. Let's see now. He has completed 20 D rank and 11 C rank missions. His sensei is Might Guy and his teammates are Neji Hyuga and Tenten. This is also his first trip to the exams. He has some significant ability in taijutsu, but he seems to have nothing on ninjutsu or jinjutsu. Sasuke just gritted his teeth in frustration as the information didn't really help him in figuring out the special techniques Rock Lee might throw at him. And as for Gaara Kabuto trailed off. Suddenly, 3 silhouettes charged straight at Kabuto. Kabuto jumped out of the way quickly as one of the figures threw a rather powerful punch with a gauntlet arm. Missed me, Kabuto said with a slight jeer. But that was when Kabuto's glasses shattered into pieces and he threw up on the ground. Before the group could continue the assault, a giant explosion of smoke sounded off, drawing everyone's attention to the front. I will not have rough housing before the exams even get started. A giant man who resembled a bear grumbled. If I catch you doing that again, I'll throw you out of the exams, understand? The group nodded their heads fervently, the man obviously freaking them out a bit, or at least unnerving them. Naruto could understand their feelings. The man looked pretty tough, especially with all those scars that seemed to be plastered to his face. Now then, my name is Ibiki Marino and I'm your proctor for the first stage. Now follow me to the exam room. The man instructed, actually more like grunted them. The group of shinobis, well the genins, followed Ibiki into the door that was locked before. Inside, everyone was told to take a seat on a designated desk while Ibiki walked to the board. You will be doing a written exam. Ibiki made a signal and the Chunin sitting at the wall went and delivered out the papers. You start out with 10 points and I only have one rule. If we catch you cheating, we will deduct 2 points, and if we deduct all 10 of your points, then you're going to be thrown out of the Chunin exam. Begin. Naruto looked at the paper and saw that all the questions were too hard for any genin to answer. Naruto looked around and saw various people cheating to get the answers. That's when it hit Naruto. The questions are too hard for anyone to answer without cheating. Naruto thought as he frowned inwardly. Naruto looked and saw Ibiki smile as he saw the various people trying to figure the test out, some of them gripping their hair in frustration, some of them frowning very hard as they tried to answer the difficult questions. This test demands that we cheat and without getting caught. Okay, now that I figured out the true meaning behind this test, the question is, how do I cheat? The only thing Naruto had in his arsenal was Kage Bunshins and his fuinjutsu, but his fuinjutsu was useless in this situation. None of the seals Naruto made were for information gathering. That was when movement from Hinata caught his attention. She moved her paper into his line of sight. Naruto looked at Hinata, causing her to smile and blush into her deep shade of red. Okay, I have the information, but I need a way to distract these proctors so I can get the information I need. Naruto thought as he tried to figure out a plan. Naruto moved his hand inside his pocket and felt around him. He had a coin, a bottle of ink, one tag, and a smoke bomb. Naruto grinned at the items that he found in his pocket. It really pays to be the troublemaker, well, ex-troublemaker. All right, I've got the stuff I need to make the proper distraction. Naruto then took his stuff out of his pocket as careful as he could and went to work. Naruto drew a transference seal on both the tag and the coin with ease, much thanks to his well-practiced fuinjutsu. Naruto looked at both of the seals he had just drew and smiled at his handiwork. He placed the tag under his desk where no one could see and then propped his feet on the desk and began to flip the coin without a care in the world. What is he doing? Ibiki thought bemusedly as he watched Naruto flipping his coin, which was beginning to catch everyone's attention. Ibiki walked over and took the coin away from Naruto. You are distracting the rest of participants. Now, I know that some people don't give a damn about their ninja career, but some of us do. Ibiki walked away, not noticing Naruto's smile. Ibiki put the coin on his desk and Naruto put his hands together in a tiger sign underneath his desk, hiding them from others' view. The seal on the coin slithered off the coin and attached itself to the desk. All right, time to party. Naruto put his one and only smoke bomb at the seal under his desk and made another tiger seal. The kids watched as there was a white poof of smoke and followed by a loud bang, and the entire front end of the classroom was concealed in a purple cloud. Ibiki! The Chunins looked over at the cloud in shock and saw a large man walk out of the smoke, obviously angered. He walked over to Naruto, who was sitting with a rather flamboyant smile plastered on his face. You think that was funny? Ibiki growled at Naruto, who just looked as though he was confused. Don't play innocent with me. I had just sat the coin down when a smoke bomb went off. And how or why would I do that? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow, keeping up his innocent look as he was completely cracking up inside at the little trick he played on the man. To cheat, of course. Ibiki looked down and an expression of shock quickly flitted across his face as he saw that it was still completely blank instead of a half-filled-out page that he expected to see. I'm sorry, Ibiki-sensei, but I had nothing to do with it. Naruto told the angry Ibiki in the most innocent voice he could muster. Naruto stood up and let Ibiki search him and his desk. Ibiki growled in frustration as he didn't find even a shred of evidence that could have pointed Naruto as the culprit. May I sit down? I really need to fill out my answer sheet, Naruto asked with the same innocent voice. Ibiki glared at Naruto, but as he had no evidence to accuse Naruto of cheating, allowed Naruto to sit and continue the test. Naruto glanced at Hinata, who just smiled as she had her paper out of Naruto's line of sight once again. Naruto filled out the answer, recalling Hinata's answer sheet that he got a peek at during the disruption. Just as Ibiki called time, Naruto filled out the last answer, the 9th answer. Now, on to the 10th and final question. Ibiki announced loudly and few groans echoed here and there around the room. Now, I have another rule. You can choose to leave and try again next year, But if you stay and get the answer wrong, then you will never be able to take the Chunin exams again. Ibiki finished with a cruel grin on his scarred face. Everyone just stared at still grinning Ibiki with obvious shock plastered on their face. Now what do you choose? Ibiki smirked sadistically as his eyes took in the frightened and shocked expression that were on the genins' faces, some of them having jaw hanging down low. That final question was weird, Naruto told others as he scratched the top of his head. Yeah, but I still can't believe you set off a smoke bomb in the exam room, Sakura said, a small crease forming on her forehead. It worked, at least. Naruto put his hands behind his head and smiled as they walked with their new proctor Anko. Besides, it was awesome, other than the fact that when he put my coin on the desk a smoke bomb exploded. He had nothing else to support his suspicion that I caused the smoke bomb. Yeah, but if he found out that you did do it, then you would be in so much trouble. Sakura looked at Naruto with a stern look on her face. Suddenly, she stopped talking along with many other students, as they realized which training ground they were at. Welcome to the training ground 44. Anko smiled sadistically at the group, also known as Sure no Mori, Forest of Death. We're back, Denpa shouted out when they entered a small hut and he was rewarded with a smack on his head by Ishiki. What was that for? Denpa complained. You don't need to yell, Baka. Ishiki frowned at childish Denpa. Denpa started to defend himself, but before the two brothers could go at each other, a cough caught their attention. They turned on a dime and gave a formal bow to an elderly man. How did it go? The elderly man asked as he sat down carefully. It went okay, Denpa answered as he leaned against a tree. The items were delivered to the Uzumaki as you wished. Excellent. He looked at the two with a gleeful smile. And how is the Uzumaki? Denpa and Ishiki looked at each other and smiled naughtily. Don't worry about him, Ishiki told the old man with a mischievous grin. We're keeping an eye on him. Denpa chimed in with Ishiki, an equally mischievous grin on his face. Then perhaps the Uzumaki clan does have a chance to return. The old man was then sent into a fit of cough which subsided after a while. Perhaps you should go inside and wait. Ishiki walked over and picked up the old man. There is no reason for you to stress yourself out. Denpa walked over and helped his brother pick the man up. The two escorted the elderly man inside the building and sighed. He doesn't have long left. Ishiki spoke and received another smack from his brother. You think I don't know that? Ishiki just looked at the ground. We just have to hope that we can get the chance to talk to Naruto and bring him here. Denpa nodded his head and walked with his brother to the woods once more. Naruto and his team entered the woods and felt a strange sensation of being watched. This is just creepy. Sakura shivered as a strange cold feeling nipped at her. Don't worry, we'll be fine, Naruto told her in an attempt to reassure her as he walked forward and looked into the dark forest. What's wrong, Dobe? Scared? Sasuke teased Naruto, who just glared back at his teammate. Suddenly, the entire team heard a loud howl like a ghost coming from the forest. Naruto looked behind him and saw Sasuke give an involuntary shiver. What's wrong, team? Scared? Naruto laughed as he walked into the forest with Sasuke glaring at him. But unbeknownst to the three genins, three mysterious figures were watching their every move. Naruto was separated from his because of a little issue that came up. After relieving himself on the ground hidden by bushes, he turned around and came face to face with a giant snake. Naruto's eye narrowed as he saw the snake look at him. Just as the snake lunged, Naruto created a Kage Bunshin and had it throw him into the trees nearby. The snake swallowed up the Kage Bunshin, making Naruto smile despite the fact that the snake turned towards his direction. The snake opened his mouth and gave a very low hiss as smoke came out of his mouth. Good thing I packed some Shikaku fuinjutsu, Naruto thought just as the snake began to thrash around until it erupted into a cloud of smoke. Summoning, Naruto realized just then, and that was when Naruto started to get a bad feeling in his stomach. What's wrong, Sasuke-kun? The snake-like man that stood before Sasuke and Sakura jeered at Sasuke. Is this the extent of the Uchiha clan's power? Sasuke gritted his teeth in anger, and a giant jet of flame came roaring towards the snake man, who easily jumped out of the way. Orochimaru, for that was the name of the snake man, looked up and frowned for a second for a reason unbeknownst to Sasuke, but quickly smiled. "Well, I thought you would be in my snake's stomach by now." Orochimaru spoke, and Sasuke was confused as to who he was talking to. "So that oversized reptile was yours?" Naruto appeared out of nowhere and stood before Orochimaru and his team. He looked behind him to see his team battered and bruised. "Did you do this to them?" Naruto asked menacingly, much to Sakura and Sasuke's surprise. Orochimaru chuckled at the tone in Naruto's voice. "So what if I did?" Orochimaru taunted. Naruto glared at him, and Orochimaru thought for just a split second that he saw the Kyuubi inside the Jinchuriki's eyes. He was right. Naruto's cerulean blue eyes were turning into red slits, and Sasuke felt the feeling he had felt on the bridge begin to pour off of Naruto in huge waves. "Sasuke, get Sakura somewhere safe," Naruto hissed at Sasuke between his gritted teeth. Then, Naruto jumped off the branch and headed straight for the snake that Orochimaru had summoned. Orochimaru smiled and spat out a long sword and swung it through Naruto, but found that it was just a clone. Orochimaru turned around and saw 3 more Narutos charging at him, but Orochimaru's simple cut through the clones once again, his sadistic smile getting even bigger. "You're using Kage Bunshins for 2 reasons," Orochimaru stated rather amusedly, making Naruto curse. "1, in the hopes of distracting me enough for your friends to get away. 2, to scout me out and then perhaps come up with a counterattack. But let me just tell you one thing. Neither of these ideas are going to work." Sasuke suddenly came out of nowhere with his fingers in the tiger seal, his blood-red Sharingan blazing. "Sasuke, don't!" Another Naruto came out of the tree and started to run towards Orochimaru and Sasuke. "Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu." Sasuke spat out a large fireball, managed to get Orochimaru, and slammed him into a tree, catching the tree on fire. Naruto finally caught up with Sasuke, who just glared daggers at the blonde. "I don't need you to protect me, understand?" Sasuke continued to glare at Naruto, who was just staring back at him with a confused expression. "That doesn't matter. You're hurt. I can buy you guys enough time to dash dot." Suddenly, Orochimaru's blade came sailing through the air and plunged Naruto directly at his side, almost piercing Naruto's heart. Naruto coughed up blood as he looked through the smoke and saw Orochimaru emerge from it unscathed, not counting his burnt shirt. "You should pay attention, Naruto," Orochimaru sneered at the blonde. Naruto just glared at Orochimaru as he was lifted off the ground by Orochimaru's inhumanly long tongue that held the sword. Orochimaru then swung the sword along with Naruto, and Naruto sailed through the air into a tree, getting knocked out cold. Naruto began to plummet towards the ground, Sakura barely catching him before he fell to his death. Sasuke glared at Orochimaru, who was smiling even bigger. "You certainly have grown into a powerful ninja, Sasuke-kun. I have to go now, but I'll leave you with a gift." Orochimaru slapped his hands together and his neck stretched out at an alarming rate. Before Sasuke could dodge, the elongated neck appeared right next to his, and Orochimaru's teeth sank into his neck. Orochimaru pulled back and saw that the black mark was appearing on Sasuke's neck. Sasuke gripped his neck as pain shot through his entire body, screaming out in pain. Sakura laid Naruto on the forest floor as carefully as possible before jumping at Sasuke. She grabbed Sasuke before he could fall head first to the ground. "What did you do?" Sakura asked in a frightened voice as the snake man just laughed. "I gave him a gift." Orochimaru just stepped back into a tree and began to sink through the bark with a twisted smile on his face. Sakura felt Sasuke go limp in her hands but still breathing. She put Sasuke's arm around her neck before jumping down where Naruto was and placed in the hollow-out tree next to Naruto. She went to check up on Naruto and found that his injury was gone. "That's not possible," Sakura thought. "There is no way someone should be able to heal that quickly." Sakura took off Naruto's cloak, vest, and shirt, and found out that there was not a single injury left. "I'm positive that he got hurt." After searching Naruto for any sign of injury and failing, she turned her attention to Sasuke, who was shaking like he was running a fever. "Hold on, Sasuke. I'll go and get water." Sakura told Sasuke softly. Sakura left and returned several minutes later with some water in some bottles. She poured the water onto a rag and draped it over Sasuke's head to keep him cool. I guess I'm taking first watch. Sakura looked out the hollow tree, not seeing the eyes that were watching her every move. Team 8 had the best luck of all. When they started, they made a trap. Luckily, the first team they caught had the very scroll they needed. Hinata was looking at picture and was smiling at it when she heard someone approaching her. She quickly put the picture away and looked to see Shino walking towards her. What are you thinking about? Shino asked with his usual stoic face. I'm just wondering how Naruto and his team are doing. Hinata blushed as she looked at the water and saw her reflection. Don't worry about them. Shino sat down next to Hinata while he looked at the ground for some bugs. If I know Naruto and Sasuke, they're not going to give up easily. Hinata smiled at her friend who just got up after seeing no bugs and went to go look for some. Hinata looked and saw that Kiba was lying down against a tree with a smile as Akamaru ran around him. Please be safe, Naruto-kun. Hinata prayed in her mind. Sakura was thrown to the ground by the Oto, meaning sound, nin named Zaku. Not minutes after Sakura came back with some water, she and her unconscious teammates were attacked. At first, she was captured by her hair by the female of the attacking, but Sakura quickly took out a kunai and cut it off. After that, she managed to hold her own against the team with some bunshins, but after she managed to land on Zaku, he quickly punched her off his arm. Rock Lee came out of nowhere to help, but Dosu managed to incapacitate him by sending a sound wave into his inner ear, rupturing his eardrum. Sakura watched as Kin approached her with a grin on her face. I guess it's time to end this. Sakura spoke softly. No sooner had those words left her mouth. The entire area was shrouded in dense and evil chakra. They all looked back to see Sasuke standing on his own 2 feet with Sharingan activated and surrounded in purple chakra. Sasuke looked at the people in front of him as black marks traveled up the left side of his face. He looked and saw Sakura beaten, battered, and bruised. Sakura, who did that to you? Sasuke's voice was thick with anger and rage. Zaka smiled despite the power he felt pouring off of Sasuke. I did. So what? Zaku immediately regretted saying anything as Sasuke vanished and delivered a swift brutal punch to Zaku, causing him to fly into a tree. Dosu and Kin tried to go and help their teammate when Sasuke began to speed through hand signs. Katan, Hozenka no Jutsu. Sasuke spat out tiny fireballs that went straight towards the 2 Oto nin. The 2 dodged, but Kin became the unlucky target of Sasuke's kick. Sasuke looked at his hands and began to giggle like a maniac. All this power is just flowing through me. Sasuke looked at Dosu who laid his scroll on the ground. Spare me and my team and you can have the scroll, Dosu begged. Dosu watched as Sasuke just shook his head. Sorry, too late. Sasuke began to approach the 3 nins, but was stopped when Sakura hugged him from behind. Please stop, Sasuke. Sakura cried into Sasuke's back as the 3 ninjas took their chance and escaped, leaving behind their scroll. You won now, please stop. Sasuke looked at her and seemed to calm down as the purple chakra and black markings disappeared. Sasuke stumbled a bit after the sudden release of his power. Sorry, Sakura. I guess I kind of lost it there for a second. Sasuke told her but thought about something else. All that power coursing through me. It was amazing. Whatever that snake did, it made me stronger. The 2 of them heard a groan and looked to see Naruto sitting up rubbing the top of his head. Naruto looked around and saw that he didn't have his vest, shirt, or cloak on. What happened? Naruto looked between Sasuke and Sakura and right before Sakura could speak, Sasuke shook his head and mouthed the words don't tell. We had to check your injury, Naruto. That's why your top clothing is off. Sakura looked at Naruto with a smile. Naruto looked around and saw Sasuke pick up the scroll that the Oto nins dropped. What's that? Naruto asked as he stood up and put his clothing on him. It's our ticket inside that tower, Sasuke told him with a smirk. Sasuke proudly showed his team the other scroll they needed to complete the test. Naruto jumped with excitement, Sakura smiled, and Sasuke just shrugged his shoulders. One step closer to my revenge, Sasuke thought. Unknown location. So have you located the Uzumaki? A mysterious figure asked in a deep voice. Yes, apparently he is in Konoha. A man answered respectfully. The name of that village seemed to bring anger into the mysterious figure. We can't just approach the village. We would have to be careful. The figure stood up and started to pace. We have to wait until he is completely alone. Then he will be ours. The figure punched a nearby wall, and the entire wall crumbled away, revealing an Uzumaki symbol on a flag with blood and burns all over it. I'll make sure that this time when I kill you, Uzumaki, you will stay dead. He grabbed the flag and ripped it off the wall and set it on fire. He watched it with cold eyes as the flag slowly burned into ash. Naruto and his team were running through the forest, watching every step they took. After Naruto managed to get dressed, the group turned to Rock Lee, who was still out of it. They stayed with him until he finally woke up. They asked him if he could stand, to which he jumped into the air screaming about the flames of youth. Before they could ask if he could make it back to his team, he ran off. When three figures ran across their path, the three tensed, but after taking a closer look, Naruto saw that it was Hinata's team. Sasuke and Sakura tried to stop Naruto, but he continued to run towards the three with a smile. Hey guys! The entire team turned on a dime and entered different stances. Whoa, you guys sure are jumpy. Naruto slowly backed up with a nervous smile. Sorry, but this is a test where it's every man for themselves. Shino told the blonde as bugs came out of his clothes. Even Hinata kept her distance, but still gave Naruto a slight smile, blushing profusely. So you guys don't trust me? The group simply tightened up their stances. Judging from how you're not attacking, I would go as far as to say that you have all your scrolls. Kiba's facial expression was all Naruto needed to confirm his suspicion. Don't worry, our secret is safe with me. My team was just going to the tower as well. How about we join together? You know, safety in numbers. Oh, and how do we know you don't plan on stealing our scrolls? Shino asked. Naruto reached into his pocket and produced both scrolls. Why would we? Naruto asked. Sasuke and Sakura suddenly came down from the tree and Sakura sent a punch to Naruto in the head. What are you doing? Sakura screamed at Naruto, who was slightly off from the punch. You don't let the enemy see what you have. Team 8 just watched in amusement as Sakura continued to shake Naruto like a rag doll. Hinata then did the same thing, revealing that they had both scrolls. Hinata, why did you do that? Kiba said in a horrified voice. Because Naruto has a point. Hinata stuttered as she looked down at the ground while pushing her fingers together. It would be safer to travel together. Kiba was going to speak once more when Shino spoke up. It is a logical idea to band together. Shino looked at his two teammates and watched as Naruto picked himself off the ground. Cool. So it's decided we'll go to the tower together. Naruto began to walk towards the direction of the tower with a smile on his face. The group walked towards the tall building, but each one was watching the other except for two. Naruto was looking at the tower and Hinata was watching Naruto with a bright red blush. After reaching the tower, the teams opened the scrolls to find a different person popping out of the scroll in front of them. For Team 8, it was Kurenai, but for Team 7, it was Gunma. They told the Genins what the meaning of this test. After waiting for a little longer, some more teams began to file in. Then Sarutobi appeared and looked at the group, who were all battered and covered in dust. Now, before we move on to the next part of the Chunin exam, if there is anyone who doesn't want to continue, please speak now. Sarutobi watched as several people raised their hands and left the tower. Now, we may begin, but since we have such a large group this year, we will be splitting the last test of the Chunin exams into two parts. This got many groans. But after Sarutobi raised his hand, he continued. Now, this test is to see what you've learned and how well you can beat your opponent. I will leave the rest of the explanation up to Hay-8. Hay-8 did just that and explained the rules to the participants. Does everyone understand the rules? Hay-8 looked around and saw various people nod their heads. All right, we will now see who's going up first. Everyone looked up at the screen and saw different names run through it until it finally stopped at two names. Zaku Abumi versus Naruto Uzumaki. Hay-8 stated loudly. The teams began to leave the area when Naruto looked over and smiled at Zaku, who just glared at him. Is the participants ready? Hayate looked from Zaku to Naruto, who both nodded their heads. Alright, begin. Hayate jumped back, and good thing, because no sooner had he said those words, Zaku raised his arms up, showing Naruto his palms. Zankaha, decapitating air wave. Naruto watched as wind pressure was being blown towards him and other Kage Bunshins that he created. Zaku saw and heard the explosion as the pressure wave managed to hit its target. 1 down, 2 to go, Zaku stated proudly with a smile. Zaku turned, but had to duck when he saw Naruto went for a kick to his head. Zaku jumped and swung his arm, facing Naruto, but then, Naruto pulled out a red seal from his pouch. If I didn't dodge that, I would have lost a lot more than this match. Naruto smiled at Zaku. I would love to know how this is done. Naruto looked at the red seal he had just pulled out, causing Zaku to frown even more. Well, if you like that, then you'll love this. Zaku began to absorb more air pressure. Zankakyakua, extreme decapitating air wave. Zaku fired off a much larger version of his previous attack, which soared towards Naruto, and Naruto could have sworn that he heard the very air around him getting cut. Fuinjutsu, Shikyaku. Naruto shouted loudly just as the shock wave came within a few feet of him. The tag exploded and shot out a flame stream, but that was Naruto's mistake. As soon as the flame stream hit the pressure wave, it was blown out. Naruto's eyes widened as he was hit with the attack full force. The people behind Naruto were forced to move out of Zaku's blast or suffer whatever punishment that done to Naruto. Zaku began to laugh mirthfully as the smoke began to filter out and everyone saw Naruto lying in a crater, blooded and hurt. I win, you weakling. Zaku walked over, but was stopped when he heard a noise. He looked up and saw another Naruto falling towards him. Zaku raised one of his arms and fired his pressurized air blast, but Naruto created a shadow clone that pulled him out of the way just in time. Naruto landed on the platform where the other participants awaited their turn. Naruto pulled off his cloak and threw to Kakashi, who caught it. Keep it safe, sensei. I don't want to trash it. Naruto told his sensei as he jumped down to the floor below. Now where were we? Zaku gritted his teeth and raised his arms once again. Oh yes, now I remember you losing. Naruto smirked at rather angry Zaku. Naruto charged just as Zaku launched another attack. Naruto moved out of the way from the air blast, but still received a cut to the side of his face. It would appear that he controls air pressure with those pipes on his hands. Naruto created for Kage Bunshin. I need to find a way to plug those holes up. Naruto sent the clones in to try and get close to Zaku to allow Naruto to make his long-range abilities ineffective. Zaku saw this and jumped backwards, blasting Naruto's clones away. You can't beat me like that. Zaku smiled as he took aim at Naruto, who smiled. What does he have to smile about? Zaku decided it didn't matter and blasted Naruto, but the Naruto he hit turned into smoke. Zaku turned around and saw Naruto smiling at him. Zaku turned around, already charging his air pressure, but Naruto grabbed his wrist. Zaku fired, hoping to blow Naruto away, and it started to work, but before Naruto flew away, he reached up and wrapped his hand on Zaku's neck. Naruto flew into the wall, leaving behind an imprint of himself in the wall. I told you, you fucking weakling, that you can't win against me. When the smoke cleared, everyone watched as Naruto began to laugh. But the problem is, I already won. Naruto held up his hand to make a tiger seal. Zaku started to try and walk forward, but found himself unable to move. He looked down and saw black lines all over his body. You're probably wondering what's happening. Well, this was one of the very first seals I ever made. It paralyzes my opponent, leaving him vulnerable. To prove his point, 2 clones jumped from behind Zaku and punched him in the face, sending him to the ground in a heap. You've lost. Naruto approached Zaku and pulled out a kunai and held it to his throat. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Hayate announced as everyone else got a good look at what Naruto could do. Damn, he used a kenjutsu with such ease. And he can use fuinjutsu. Baki was watching Naruto walking up the stairs with his hands in his pockets. Just what is Konoha teaching their ninja? Baki looked down and saw Gaara watching Naruto's every move. Looks like Gaara just found his prey for this thing. Baki just hoped Gaara wouldn't do anything until it was time. The teams looked and saw the screen beginning to go through names until it ended on Shikamaru versus Kintsuchi. What a drag, Shikamaru muttered as he slowly walked down to the floor with no hint of excitement in his steps. Let's just get this over with. What's wrong? Afraid to get beaten by a girl? Kin sneered at Shikamaru, who just yawned. Begin. Hayate swung his arm and watched as Kin threw some senbon at Shikamaru, who lazily dodged to the left, but still got stuck with a senbon in his shoulder. So you're doing something similarly to the Kage Shuriken no Jutsu, Shadow Shuriken technique, Shikamaru stated as he pulled the senbon out of his shoulder. But instead of shuriken, you use senbon. This brought a frown to Kin's face. So you figured it out. Kin just reached into her pack and pulled out 3 senbon. But that won't save you from the sound. Shikamaru was confused by what she meant until he heard a bell ringing. Shikamaru covered his ears, but saw Kin shaking her head. That won't help you. It's already inside your head. Shikamaru watched as Kin split into 3. Now you can't beat me. Kin went to throw her senbon, but stopped. Kagemain no Jutsu, Shadow Imitation Technique, success. Shikamaru looked up with a smile. He got up and moved his right arm and watched as Kin did the exact same thing. Good. Now time to end this troublesome game. Shikamaru reached into his pack and grabbed a shuriken. But Kin did the exact same thing. Game set. Shikamaru threw his shuriken and Kin did the same thing. Shikamaru leaned his head back as hard as he could, and Kin followed, but instead of hitting nothing, she hit a wall. Shikamaru let his shadow slide back to him as Kin slid off the wall, out cold. Match. Shikamaru began to walk up the stairs as Hayate called him as the winner. Naruto patted Shikamaru on the back as he walked by. Good job, Shikamaru. Shikamaru just yawned. Naruto turned back and saw the names of Sasuke and Yoroi on the board. Naruto turned and gave Sasuke a smile. Good luck, Sasuke. Sasuke turned and looked at Naruto for the briefest of seconds, then began his descent to the arena. Naruto was a little shook up from the look Sasuke gave him. What was that about? Naruto looked and saw Sasuke take up a fighting stance. Denpa and Ishiki were looking at the old man who seemed to be shivering from some unseen cold. The old man gave a wave to the two of them, and they politely walked forward. We need to find them, he said in an uneven voice. Find who? Denpa leaned in close with sad look on his face. The old man leaned forward and whispered into Denpa's ear. Ishiki looked and saw his brother's eyes widen in shock. When Denpa looked at the old man, he had a look of hesitation. Are you sure about that? Denpa watched as the old man nodded his head before closing his eyes and falling asleep. What did he want? Ishiki called out, only for his brother to look at him with a small smile. We need to go to Nami no Kuni. This was all Ishiki needed to know. Well, if that's the case then, we'd better get a move on. Ishiki threw his brother a cloak while he put his on. Let's go. With that, the two of them left the cabin and headed towards their destination. Kakashi decided to take Sasuke away to the hospital after his match to tend to him. The next match after that was Sakura versus Ino, which ended with neither of them winning. Then came Kiba versus Shino, and right off the bat, Kiba charged, which only got him trapped amongst Shino's bugs. After a while of the bugs draining his and Akamaru's chakra, they gave up. Temari and Tenten were up next, and it ended in one of the most twisted things Naruto has seen. After blasting away Tenten's weapons and slicing her up, Temari placed her fan right underneath Tenten and let her fall on her fan. The result was Tenten bending over Temari's fan backwards. Then to add insult to injury, Temari threw the incapacitated girl towards the wall, only for Tenten to be caught by Rock Lee. That was most unyouthful. Rock Lee, for the first time, looked severely pissed off, but before he could do anything, Guy stepped in and restrained his student. Temari walked up the steps with a smile on her face, but as she was walking past Team 7, she turned to look at Naruto, who stared back at her, and for just a split second, Temari thought she saw his eyes turn red, and a giant fox towered behind him with a hungry look in its eyes. Kankuro looked at his sister, who suddenly looked white as a sheet. What happened? Kankuro watched as Temari turned to him. I get the feeling that he's just like Gaara. Tamari said as she looked back at the arena screen to see that Kankuro was fighting a man by the name of Misumi. The fight didn't last very long. Misumi wrapped himself around Kankuro and snapped his neck, only for Kankuro to be revealed as a puppet. The real Kankuro was hiding in the bandages. Kankuro made a fist as his chakra strings were attached to the puppet. The puppet wrapped around Misumi and broke every bone in his body except for his neck. The next match made Hinata nervous, because she was up against her cousin, Neji. Naruto walked up and patted Hinata on the shoulder, giving her an encouraging smile. Hinata walked down to the arena with Neji scowling at her. "What are you doing?" Hinata looked at Neji, who shook his head. "You can't be serious about fighting me." Hinata looked up and saw Naruto give her the thumbs up, and she nodded at him. She took a fighting stance while activating her Byakugan. Her eyes. She's not the same as before. Neji looked at Naruto, who smiled at him. Did he do something to help her? Neji didn't worry about it, and took up his own stance. "All right, begin." Neji and Hinata charged at each other. Neji threw a palm forward, but Hinata swiped it away with her own. Hinata did the exact same, but Neji deflected her attack. This went on for a good couple of minutes before Neji, instead of deflecting Hinata's attack, grabbed her arm and swung her to the ground. "I told you, I'm destined to win this fight." Neji looked into Hinata's eyes, but dodged her chakra-laced hand. Neji's grip on Hinata's arm loosened, and she was able to get back to her feet. "I don't care. I'll still fight." Hinata charged, but Neji jumped over her and landed on his feet. Hinata didn't need to turn her head to see Neji already throwing his hand forward. Hinata spun around on her heel and grabbed Neji's arm. She palm thrust at him, but he caught her as well. The two of them pushed with added chakra and were thrown backwards. Neji stopped and ran at Hinata, but instead of charging, Hinata stood her ground. As Neji neared her, Hinata threw her hand forward, but when Neji went to catch it, he felt his hand get sliced open. He jumped back and looked at his hand to see something that looked like a chain-link fence sliced into his palm. Neji took a closer look at Hinata's arm and found that her entire right arm was dancing with sharpened chakra. "She's coating her arm in sharpened chakra to cut into me," Neji muttered to himself. "That could be a problem if she hits me with it." Neji ran at her, but this time, zigzagged towards her. Hinata followed Neji as he came closer and closer, but just as she threw her arm, Neji jumped. Hinata turned to face him, but Neji slammed his chakra-infused hand into Hinata's back, forcing her forward into a wall. Neji walked towards her until he noticed two pictures on the ground. Neji picked them up and looked at the first one to see Hinata standing with Hayashi, her mother, and Hanabi. He looked at the other and slightly glared and smiled at the sight. "So this is why you're so brave," Neji said, showing Hinata the picture of Naruto and her at Ichiraku's at night. But the one difference is Naruto giving Hinata a kiss on the cheek, making her blush. Hinata's eyes widened as Naruto cursed. Hinata felt around her jacket and found nothing. "Give that back." Hinata looked at Neji with a slight glare. "I wonder if Hayashi knows about your little love affair with the village's pariah?" Neji jumped backwards as Hinata slammed her hand on the ground right where Neji was. "I said, give it back." This time there was danger in her words. "If you want it, come and get it." Neji said this as he put the picture into his shirt with a smile. Hinata charged, doing the one thing Neji wanted, get angry. Neji dodged Hinata's thrusts and jabs, wanting to get her just a tad bit more angry. Hinata thrust forward with both hands, and that was when Neji took his chance. He ducked under Hinata's attack and threw his arms forward, nailing her in the stomach. Hinata coughed up a small amount of blood and was sent backwards. "You're doing the very thing I want you to, Hinata. Getting anger. The more angry you become, the more reckless you get. I just took my time and waited for you to make a mistake too bad." Hinata just looked at Neji and smiled. "What do you have to be happy about? I may have lost and you may have hurt me, but I still love you, Nizan," Hinata said with a smile. But this seemed to only make Neji angry. "I don't know what I've done to anger you, but I still care about you. That's why I pity you, because you live your life full of anger." Neji saw red and charged, even with Hayate telling him the match was over. Neji came closer and threw his arm, but it never connected, as a purple hexagonal barrier appeared between him and Hinata. Neji looked up and saw Naruto already jumping down with his hands together in a tiger seal. "I think that's enough," Naruto stated as he walked towards Hinata. Neji charged at Naruto, who turned and ducked Neji's thrust, and he continued towards Hinata. Neji turned and went to attack, but found himself unable to move. He looked down and saw the same black lines as before. Naruto turned around and with some labored breathing, he walked over to Neji and took back the picture and gave it back to Hinata, who was picking up her family picture. "I'm sorry," Hinata said with some tears. "I was supposed to keep the picture safe and not let anyone see it." Naruto just patted her shoulder and picked her up as some medics came by to take a look at her. "It's not your fault. I knew someone was bound to find out." Naruto smiled at Hinata. "But I guess we'll just deal with the problem when it comes." Hinata nodded her head and walked out with Kurenai right behind her. "You know, you two were made for each other," Neji said as he applied some chakra and broke out of Naruto's seal. "You're both weaklings. I mean, look at you. You can barely use a fuinjutsu without it consuming a great deal of your chakra." Naruto just chuckled and looked at Neji. "It's funny how you're calling us weak, when Hinata nearly beat you," Naruto said as he watched Neji prickle up in anger. "And how I managed to dodge and then place a seal on you to paralyze you." Neji was about to charge, but calmed himself down and looked at Naruto with his calm and calculated eyes. "Sorry, but you're going to have to do a lot better than that to lure me in." Neji watched as Naruto shrugged and began to walk up the steps, but gave Hinata one last smile before she disappeared. "Naruto," Kakashi yelled out with a wave. "I just made it to see the last few seconds of Hinata's fight. I didn't know you two were going out." "That was the point." Naruto looked up at Kakashi. "What do you believe would happen if the village found out about Hinata and me?" Kakashi just nodded his head. "Not that it's any of my business, but how long have you two been together?" Kakashi watched as Naruto began to think back. "About 1 day before the team placements," Naruto said, leaning against the wall. "She was the only one besides Sarutobi and a few others who actually tried to help me through Iruka's death. She managed to keep me from just curling up and dying. So I guess that's what got us together." Naruto watched as Choji and Dosu's names came up, and after Asuma bribed Choji with barbecue pork, Choji jumped down to the arena ready to fight. "All right, mummy man. I'm going to beat you and eat all the pork I can fit in my stomach," Choji yelled with fire in his eyes. "We'll see about that." Dosu lifted up his gauntlet arm and smiled under his bandages. Hayate gave the go-ahead, and that was when Choji put his hands together. "Baika no jutsu, expansion jutsu," Choji called out as he inflated like a balloon. Choji then sucked his head, arms, and legs into his inflated body and shouted, "Nikuden Sansha!" He quickly began to roll at Dosu at a high speed. Dosu jumped out of Choji's way and watched as he smashed into a wall, making a hole, but Choji turned and came rolling back at Dosu. Dosu jumped out of the way again and watched Choji jam himself into the wall. Dosu jumped right next to him and punched his inflated body, but with no effect. "This is sad," Dosu said as he brought his hand up with a tiger seal. "Goodbye." Suddenly, the entire arena was filled with a high-pitched screech. Everyone looked and saw Choji laying on the ground, completely disorientated. Hayate named Dosu the winner as the mummified man walked up the steps. Rock Lee, at this point, was bouncing off of his feet in excitement as he knew his turn had come. His name and Gaara's appeared on the monitor. Gaara vanished in a swirl of sand and reappeared on the arena floor, looking at Rock Lee. "Come on, let's get this over with," Gaara said with no emotion. "Yes, I can now show my springtime of youth." Rock Lee jumped into the air with excitement. Gaara kept an emotionless face as he watched the excitable ninja jump and land in front of him. Gaara looked from Lee to Naruto with a murderous glint in his eyes. Hayate looked at both of the participants and raised his arm upwards. "Begin," he said, and watched as Lee went right at Gaara. Lee threw a punch at Gaara's face, but a wall of sand erupted in between them. Lee turned on his feet and tried to deliver a swift kick to Gaara, but that was also blocked by the sand. Gaara looked at Lee and the sand lurched at him, trying to ensnare him. Lee began to jump backwards, trying to avoid the sand, but the sand was faster. It slithered underneath Lee and made him slip. When Lee looked up, he saw a wave of sand falling towards him. The sand hit the ground and exploded, but when the sand moved, Lee was nowhere to be seen. Gaara looked around until he saw his sand rise behind him to protect him. Gaara turned and saw that Lee had tried to punch him. Gaara watched as his sand swung Lee at the wall, but Lee spun around and landed on his feet. Lee pushed off the wall, leaving behind a small crater as he launched himself towards Gaara. Lee stopped as a wall of sand came at him, and he was forced to evade. Lee jumped onto the giant pair of hands on one side of the arena and looked at Gaara, who stared right back. How can I hit an opponent who is protected from attacks from any direction? Lee looked at Guy, who nodded his head, making Lee smile. All right. Lee jumped and took off his orange leg warmers, revealing weights on his legs. Does he think that by removing a little weight he'll be able to get past Gaara's sand? Temari chuckled at the thought. Lee removed the weights and sighed. Now I can move much more easily. Lee dropped the weights as everyone watched them plummet towards the ground. But when they hit the ground, everyone got the shock of a lifetime. As soon as the weights touched the ground, they made a pair of craters and caused the ground to shake a little. Gaara kept his eyes on Lee until he vanished. Gaara looked around for Lee, but the only thing he saw was Lee's fist moving faster than his sand could keep up. He looked around and saw his sand rise and fall with fist-sized holes punched through it in various places. Suddenly, the sand stopped moving, and Gaara looked around for Lee until he saw a shadow above him. When he looked up, he saw Lee spinning like a top, but before Gaara or his sand could react, Lee delivered an axe kick to the top of his head. Gaara was sent skidding backwards with some blood dripping from his head. That's not possible, Kankuro thought. Gaara's been hurt. The group watched as Lee smiled and looked up at Guy, who nodded his head once again. Lee began to unravel his bandages until they touched the ground. Lee then ran at Gaara and began to run circles around him. Gaara looked at the blurred images of Lee until he was kicked in the jaw. Gaara was sent skyward, but only a few inches. Lee glared a little and began to kick in rapid succession. But right when Gaara was at the right altitude for the move Lee was about to perform, pain shot through Lee's body, causing him to wince. Gaara saw this and began to spill out some sand, but before he could do anything with it, Lee wrapped him up in his bandages and began to spin towards the ground with great speed. Omote Renge, forward lotus, Lee shouted just before the two of them hit the ground. When the two of them did hit the ground, a giant explosion sounded out, and a giant cloud of dust and rock shot upwards. Gaara, Temari thought to herself, feeling little worried for her little brother. Such power. Naruto looked as the smoke began to clear to reveal Lee, who was slowly crawling out of the crater, and Gaara, who was sticking straight up with his head in the ground. I did it. Lee was about to lay back, when he heard chuckling coming from behind him. Lee turned around and saw Gaara rising out of the ground with sand pouring off of him, while wearing a very disturbing smile. Is that all you've got? Gaara sounded disappointed. I was hoping to play with you a little bit more. Gaara licked his lips. Lee just looked on as a wave of sand went straight at him,